All right, everybody, we are back and we are ready to go. And I am extremely excited as we continue with with the subathon, day 2 of our subathon, which has currently brought in 85, count them, 85 subs and one Patreon pledge. I'm hoping we're going to get even more than that as we go along. But it is my wonderful honor and pleasure and privilege to introduce the next segment of the subathon, which is going to be the Infernal Salon. I am very, very excited for it. I can't wait. And so I am going to unmute myself and apologize for anyone that I interrupted because I couldn't hear them. And then I am going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to transition over to reveal the incredible members of the Infernal Salon today, and all people that I think pretty much know just about everybody. And of course, most of these are friends and people that I've connected with for a long time. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm going to hand things over to our hosts for this salon of infernal quality. And that, of course, is to dear friends Carlos Hernandez and C.S.E. Clooney. So Carlos and Claire, please take it away.
It's been a while. Did you miss me? Have you been sleeping well? Wink, wink. Hello, everybody. It is so good to have you here for our Infernal Salon. And it is really great to be here to help support Greg as he pushes to get a few more subs and spread the love on this very, very wholesome, excellent chat that he sponsors in the different games that he plays. I'm Carlos Hernandez. Some of you may know me because I, once upon a time, played a very grumpy teenage cat named Sleepwell in a long-running campaign of Esper Genesis that we did here. And with me today is my genius wife, C.S.E. Cooney. Say hi, Claire.
Hello, I was going to say that I'm CSE Clooney because George and Rosemary are my relations, obviously, and they too should subscribe to Greg's chat. But actually, I am a Cooney, and I'm so happy to be here because Infernal Salons are some of my favorite things to do, and we have so many great writers with us today, and hopefully you in the chat are also ready to steal their writing prompts and write your own stuff. I'm so excited.
So the way that it's going to work is that we have a deck of cards here. It is our deck of destiny, or if you prefer the Spanish, La Baraja del Destino. I mean, the Spanish, it's pretty sexy. But in the deck of destiny are 70 cards, 10 cards each of 7 suits. And they are, if you will remember from different times that we've showcased Infernal Salons on this channel, spooky, macabre, a little dangerous, if you will. But Claire and I made the deck of destiny, and from it, a game called Negocios Infernales. Also, it's been featured on this channel, and it is coming to fruition. So finally, after many years of play testing and development with people in this chat, in fact, in this group of great writers that we have, we are on October 10th going to launch our Kickstarter. So I'm pretty sure that there is a Negocios command in the chat. If you press it there, you will get the link to Negocios Infernales, and that will lead you to the place where you'll know the instant we go live. And you'll see why you will want this game today, hopefully, when you see the kind of magic that it can produce. We're going to quickly introduce our writers today, and then we're going to get down to business. We'll do a more formal introduction of each of them and their works while they are writing. What we're going to do is we're going to introduce our writers. We're going to say hello to them, and then we're going to draw 2 cards for them. Those 2 cards will be the inspiration of a never-before-seen work of art that will appear in front of your very eyes in about 20-some minutes. Super excited about this. If, however, you're saying 20 minutes, nobody can make a work of art in 20 minutes. That's totally unfair, Carlos. What are you thinking? I agree. So what you can do, chat, is you can mitigate the unfairness of the situation by subscribing. So every time you subscribe, we get a new subscriber, we'll add 2 minutes to the clock, and your writers will thank you. 2 minutes may not seem a lot on this end, but on their end, it will seem like a blossoming and effulgence of creativity.
Whoa, wait. They get 2 minutes per subscriber? I thought they got 1 minute. Wow. Okay, writers, Carlos is a lot more generous than I was thinking, so that's cool, I guess.
But wait, there's more. If you subscribe, we'll also read your fortune. So the Baraja del Destino is more than just a game device, game mechanic. It's more than just a creative inspiration device. It will tell you what's going on with your life and what needs to go on with your life. You won't get the card you want, you'll get the card you need. So if you subscribe, all you need to do is ask us a question in the chat, and we won't answer. The deck will.
So, Carlos, before you go on, Classicor, who told me he was setting up for something like this, has just gifted 10 subs to the channel. So that will grant, if I understand this correctly, an extra 20 minutes before the writers even get started. So they're just, that's how that rolls. So
See,
20,
that's
I
why
think.
that's why I thought we were doing 1 minute, because what if somebody like Classicor just jumps in the chat with 10 subs?
Who gave 10 subs earlier today, by the way, already. So this is now 20 subs total. Yeah.
Well, first of all, we love Classicor. He is
what a darling
of this chat and especially of this game. So thank you, Classicor, for that. Awesome. Gosh, writers, let me put it to you very quickly. If you'll just turn on your microphones for a moment. Do you think an extra 10 minutes for right now to start? And then if you need an extra minute or two.
So Hillness gave another 10 subs just now. So that's
so we'll see you all tomorrow.
Basically, the writers will be writing for the next 24 hours.
How was the experience? We were brutally taken. The time was given to us. Too much time. Wow, thank you, Hillness and Classicor. Wow.
How about this? We'll do maybe, writers, we'll want to put it to you. We could do an initial round of 25 or a half hour. Everybody reads. And if you want to do another round, we can do that.
Yeah, we could do a speed round. We've never tried that, but like a super speed round of like 10 minutes. That's fun. I mean, and then Claire, maybe you and I will join in for like the 10-minute one.
Well, that means Greg will have to monologue for the entire time we're writing. Is that fair, I ask?
Oh, I mean,
I have no experience with monologuing on my own channel. That isn't anything I ever do.
Just, give us some bars, Greg. You can do it.
Yeah, this brings us, by the way, to 105 subs, which is spectacular. So thank you, everybody. That's amazing. It also means that we'll do a second giveaway of my own. I gave away a copy of my novel Gray Shade and a copy of a board game yesterday. Mrs. Dunsel won that, so I'll be doing another one of those. If that is, we can ever stop the notifications going off from people who have been subbed because of Tailness and Classicor. Listen, whatever you folks want to do. I had a suspicion. There were some people who were like, I'm waiting until the salon because I have a plan. That was Classicor's idea. So the plan has been sprung, so now I don't know,
Hilarious. Okay, but more importantly, go ahead, Claire.
I was just going to say, we haven't actually heard from the writers. We sort of talked over them. So
sorry,
do they want a full 40 minutes, or do they want like a 20 and a 20? Let's ask them. Preferences?
I think a 20 and a 20 would be more manageable. And like you said, to keep up the infernal energies.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the gesture for infernal energies. It's the same as raising the roof for some reason.
Wiggle your fingers.
This is the roof of hell. This is
exactly.
Raise the roof of hell. Get those fumes out of here.
Thank you to Rudenell for gifting another sub. So that's 106 subs now that we're up to. So thank you all.
And that's 42 minutes total. Well, so we'll do 21 minutes and 21 minutes.
That's called Douglas Adams.
That's right. Answer the universe, the answer of the universe.
So I guess the other side of it was that we were going to, if the writers wanted more than 2 cards, maybe now because of all the subs, they have a choice of a third if they wanted it.
Oh, I love it. So I think so because we have 3 different subscribers who've subscribed a bunch. So for Hillness and Classicor and the person who just subscribed, whose name I missed, thank you so much.
Rudenell. And Effect Life just gave us 5 more. So that's 5 more subs.
That's great.
It's the most successful subathon in history, and the writers never actually write. We're just like, thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. That's good. So how about we do the initial draw for the 20 minutes, and then we'll do a new draw, and that way the chat gets a new draw too if they're writing along.
Yeah.
2 20-minute sessions.
I love it, and everyone will get another additional card as well. So
heck into the heck
awesome. Yeah. Wow, that was unexpected. I'm thwarted by your generosity in the best way possible. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to quickly run through our writers, give them their information, get them to writing, and then we will introduce them properly, tell you a little bit more about the game. So, Claire, who should we start with?
Well, Deborah.
Of course. How could I have thought anyone else?
We've got Deborah J. Brannon with us. Now, we're not going to do the bios till they're writing because, we don't want to take up all of their time just chatting about their amazing glory. But Deborah J. Brannon, old good friend of mine from the internets. Don't know if we've ever met in person. Deborah, have we met in person? Oh, but I love her. Okay. And so will you. Okay. That's Deborah. Carlos, introduce the next writer.
Well, no, it's time for Deborah's cards. So
that's how we're doing it.
Yeah, we're just giving Deborah's cards right now. So Deborah, if you want to unmute, say hello, just to make sure we can hear you.
Hello, and yes, give me the cards.
Okay, so here they are. They're a comment. So if you are looking at Greg's chat, you will see them appear in just a moment. I'm going to have to reorient them. That's okay. This adds to the suspense.
So we're looking at the Twitch TV, right?
That's right. On twitch.tv, you will see that now I am moving a card and expanding it. And this first card says ruins are ruins for a reason.
Now they're going to make that big so you can see it.
Yep, I've covered over just for a moment so that people can see it. Ruins are ruins for a reason. I don't think I'd seen that one before. That's an awesome one. Wow.
Yeah.
And writers, I would suggest making your screen large and enlarging the picture, screen capping it, and keeping it with you.
The second card, growing before you as we speak, is, though people are suffering, should we not drink wine?
That one I remember.
I had that card in one of the last Infernal Salons I was in.
That means it's part of your soul.
Oh, Lord. Ominous and spooky. Let me take a screen cap.
Well, that's two, but now the question, Deborah, is, do you want a third? You have that option.
Well, I always like things in threes, so.
Here it comes.
That's right. Fairy tales for the win.
You could just stack that maybe on top of the others, Carlos. In the middle of the others, then that will...
We'll do.
Oh, she got another Lagrimas card. Lagrimas are the green cards. It means, Lagrimas means tears or the brine of life. All of the suits, which are the frames around the cards, have a different suite of meanings, if you will.
And this one gives some good advice. Drink a little poison every day.
Don't drink a little poison don't listen to the cards. Don't listen.
I'm on the internet. You have to listen to me. Drink a little poison every day. So to review, Deborah, ruins are ruins for a reason, with that Wesso bony border around it. Below that, though people are suffering, should we not drink wine? And then your third bonus card, thanks to chat. Drink a little poison every day.
And the chat wants to know where are these cards from. Why, chat, we'll tell you. Negocios Infernales is our tabletop role-playing game. We're kickstarting for it starting on October 10th, next month. Right now, you can go sign up to be notified on negociosinfernales.com. And there probably will be a mod dropping that link in the chat for us.
Yes, should be. Just double check. I put in Discord mods, so Drew, Helnus, Triffid, Dragon. I put the links to all of the author's stuff. Excuse me. If you could post the link for the appropriate person when you can, that would be lovely.
Deborah, you have what you need, right?
I am, and I'm off and running.
Off you go. All right, wonderful. So Claire, who's next?
Eeny, meeny, miny, Valerie.
Valerie.
Or Pope Valerie the First.
Here we are.
Valerie, I can't remember. Have you done one of these before? I think so, right?
I don't think I've done an Infernal Salon, but we were in a stream together. We were bunnies.
We were bunnies. That's what it was. We role played together.
Yes.
We were excellent bunnies. I think, yeah. Was it I or you who was on fire as a bunny rabbit?
I think it was you.
Yeah,
God, I remember that.
That was a horrible situation.
I was not
It worked
there
out
for
well, though. It was so chaotic.
Anyway, welcome so much to our chat and our game. We're going to show you two cards. They're going to be spooky. You ready?
I am ready. My body is ready.
Here we go. Your first card is one that is just one that constantly shows up. This is a card that always insists on being part of everything that we do, no matter what we do. This card says simply, murder for order.
I keep getting that card.
As the only lawful good person in my friend circle, this is awkward. but accurate.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that kind of lawful good. I hear you. Okay. So
that would be good in quotation marks, right?
right.
Paragon.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Here we go. This is actually a really good one to match with Murder for Order, if I can get it oriented correctly here.
Carlos, I believe in you.
Desire is the reason of reasons.
Oh. Oh.
Diametrically opposed.
I mean,
Possibly.
pretty like opposite-y, right? I like it.
Here we go.
All right. And so now, Valerie, would you like a third?
Do I want a third? I'm thinking, I think maybe I will take, hold on. I gotta save this so that I don't lose it. I'll take one more card.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So your third card. This is the gift from chat. Ooh.
Thank you, chat.
Thank you, chat.
You know, it's almost like perfect in the way that it centers like both of them kind of like, again, opposed to each other. Valerie, there cannot be a soul. There must be a soul.
Oh, I don't see it yet. Where
Oh,
is
it's
it?
coming.
Oh.
It's coming.
Did the cards know I was a paladin before this started? My gosh, this is scary. It's uncanny.
You know, one of the rules in our rule book is the deck knows. Trust the deck knows. This has happened too many times.
Okay, let me get a shot of this one next. Hold on, so I don't lose it. Oh, here we go.
Hey,
all right.
Hey, Twitch chat people, while I'm doing this, does anyone know, has Twitch switched around the categories that creative is not a category here? Because I'm not finding the categories I normally would. If you know, put it in Twitch chat. If not, I'll just figure it out over time. So.
All right, Valerie, you have your marching orders from the deck. Go forth and create. Claire, who's next?
I want Marty Cahill. I want to give him his cards. I want to give him his cards. Marty Cahill's cards. Raise the roof of hell. Oh, yeah.
Great song.
We'll summon forth hellfire.
Hello, Marty. How are you doing?
Hello, Carlos. I'm quite well. Thank you for having me here for this infernal, nay, dastardly writing event.
I mean, when we thought dastardly, we were like, who can we? Oh,
Marty.
Truly, yes. I've been described. Everyone from my mother to HR has called me dastardly. So you are correct.
It's funny because it's a lie.
It's so untrue.
Humor is wrongness.
Yeah. So, Marty, we're giving you two cards. Here they come.
Let's do it.
Card the first. Oh.
Chat, just so you know, Marty is, just an excellent person, writer, editor, marketer, like all these things, but an excellent gamer. Such a gamer. It's so exciting to play with him.
Oh, you are. If I blush any harder, I'll be a new shade of red. That's quite kind of you. Thank you.
Well, then you'll just join my ranks. I was born blushing and I never stopped.
Right.
Honestly, same. Will you die at once or by degrees?
Or by blushing.
Well, don't give it away now. Take me a picture.
Also, I'm waiting to put the timer up, right? Until everyone has cards available. Okay.
That's right. Everybody else gets to be a cheater, pumpkin eater, except for the last person, whoever that may be.
At which point we have like 8 hours because chat was just
Right,
like, here,
exactly.
have more subs. You know. All the subs.
Will you die at once or by degrees is your first card, and a valid question, though terrifying. Your second card, Marty Cahill, is coming now.
Okay, we're ready.
Flowers fear the storm, but crave the rain.
And that is a Rayo card. Rayo means lightning. And in the suit, the lightning suit is the spark of life.
Excellent.
You've got two. Marty, do you want a third?
As a fan of shows like Chopped, where there's always a mystery ingredient waiting just around the bend, I would love to go for a third. And I think it would be a real kick in the teeth for chat, who so graciously gave us a chance for threes. So by Chopped fairy tale rules, a third would be most welcome.
I love
Chopped fairy tale rules.
Yeah, so we're not even giving you a card. We're just giving you asparagus. Now go. No, I'm kidding. Instead, we're giving you this third card.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was the axe one, Carlos? That I'm rooting for that. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind.
Oh, no, it's something, something a little bit spookier by a lot.
This is an aire card. That's the air suit or the breath of life.
Yeah, piety is surrender.
Oh, I like that for Marty.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't
right.
ask me why. I just
well, I mean,
Wow.
we've got a lot of existential stuff going on here.
Amazing. Thank you, gang.
All
Looking forward
right,
to it.
Marty, you have what you have.
I sure do. Thank you so much.
I'm going to move these cards down. Off you go. And then Claire.
Oh, the choices. You know, I met Kate in person this year at StokerCon, where we brought my little brother. Our first StokerCon, his first StokerCon, not Kate's first StokerCon. But I had been on a panel with her virtually, apparently, sometime during the pandemic infinity that we went through and are still going through in many corners of the world. Anyway, I with Kate to celebrate our meeting in Meat Flesh. Meat space, meat time. You should go there.
We met in Meat Flesh. That's terrifying.
Meat
Hello,
Flesh.
Kate.
That's my theme. Meat.
Oh, that would be funny if you got a carne card, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, we'll see what they give us. How are you doing today, Kate?
I am doing well, thank you. I'm so pleased to be here and a little terrified because I am this is my first live writing ever. So
Oh, so
That is
excellent.
amazing.
fingers crossed.
Now,
Terror is so good for you. It's not, I'm kidding. I'm just joking.
I mean, okay, we're kidding.
It is my
but-
stock and trade, so
Right. I was gonna say, like, you have 2 books out this year, and you have like an academic job that just eats all of your time. Like, you have nothing to be. Our cards could do nothing to you.
you're definitely less terrifying than freshmen.
Can confirm.
I love that all the
confirm.
professors just started giggling. I mean,
Yup.
there's
All
a
right.
pedagogical like wave of laughter happening.
Mhm.
All right. Guess what? You got a meat card.
Oh no, that's not for real. I
So-
love it.
And not only did you get a meat card, you got a card about guts. Like, literally, your card says, oops, guts make the finest music.
Oh, I remember when we wrote that card. I know what we were thinking of. We were having a Shakespeare moment.
Oh, yeah. If music be the food of love, play on.
Mhm.
Actually, I was thinking about the Much Ado one, which is strange that sheep's guts could hail souls from men's
Oh,
bodies.
that's right. That's right.
Yep,
Yeah.
Benedict right before falling in love again.
Well, in this one, while it doesn't have meat as a like surrounding border, it does have a severed head. So I feel like we're at least somehow
We're still in meat space.
yeah, we're still in theme here. So, Kate, here's the advice. Give the tide your sacrifice. What will the tide return?
Nice.
Remember, as you're looking at the cards, you can use any part of it. Maybe you'll just focus on one little image in the corner, or maybe just look at the border, or, the expression on one person's face. Whatever you want, any little bit, you can use words or image, any combination. Kate, would you like a third card?
Oh, absolutely. I do not refuse a nice gift, especially from the chat.
Your
Never look
third-
a meat horse in the meat mouth. Sorry.
I love
A meat mouth. I mean, it's like we all have meat mouths, but
Yeah,
what if
I
they were like
mean-
meat teeth and meat no? Sorry. Oh, I love this one.
Kate, live long enough for better stars. They're coming, those better stars. Just live long enough.
Maybe
That was
that's a
it.
meat broth she's weeping into. Carlos, can I call you my meat broth as an endearment from now on?
My meat broth.
Maybe not. I'm sorry. I didn't
well-
actually mean it the way it came out. I just
we'll talk.
realized.
We'll talk, darling. What is our safe word again? Anyway, Kate, I think you have what you need. Enjoy. Have a great time at your very
Thank
first
you.
live writing. And yeah, do you have what you need? You have all the info?
I am good. Thank you very much.
Have fun.
Yeah,
Clara.
chat
Okay.
real quickly as we were writing this game, we were like, we learned the word apophenia, which is pattern recognition when there isn't necessarily a pattern to recognize. We're like, the mechanics of apophenia and empathy. We just love it. It is so rich and generative, and we had so much fun creating these cards to spark some of that in our fellow human artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I think the person who has the coconut crab on her desk should go next.
Arudna wants to know how you spell that, Claire. Oh, is that
Apophenia?
Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
But coconut crab writer, aka Preemie, is the one who next shall be given the cards.
Hello, Preemie.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting me. I am excited.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited to have you. We cannot wait to read your bio to the chat. If anybody dares not know who you are, they shall know.
But they should know anyway, because Preemie, part of the multiple nominated Val Award from Speculate, of course, as well. And
Amazing.
so, Preemie should be known to folks here for that reason too.
Excellent, excellent. Preemie, are you ready for some cards?
I am ready.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
This will be interesting.
Card. Ooh.
What is it? Oh, it's an IRA, but I can't see which one yet. It's cute. Oh, this is a good one, Preemie. It's one of my favorites. They all are, but this one.
The soul loves all. The mind, but some.
Oh, harsh but fair.
Is it cheating if Fiasco helps? Squid wants to know. Does Fiasco help, I think, is the question.
I think whenever we talk about cats, we have to put help in quotation marks.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Because sneaking underneath the desk to touch my ankle is actually not very helpful.
Right.
So your second card, Preemie. The trained tongue enjoys a little bitterness.
Carlos and I were totally borrowing from Stephen Crane on this one. Because it is my heart. Because it is bitter. Is that right? No, because it is bitter, because it is my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the line?
I think that's right.
Preemie, would you like a third card?
I would love a third card. Let's see what we can add.
Air, tears. What else? After breath and tears, what does Preemie get?
Blood.
Oh yeah, sangre. Our first sangre card, is that right? For
That's
the
right.
evening?
Pain, Preemie, is the opposite of thought.
I might be able to make a horror story out of this. We shall see.
You have captured all three for your own?
I have captured all three. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Marvelous.
Have fun writing. I hope those give you good inspiration. I think we have one more person. Is that correct, Claire?
We have Belle Marie. I cannot say she's our favorite Canadian in this group because we have more than one, but we love her. We love
Marie. It is so good to see you, Marie. Thank you so much for joining us. Yay.
Yay. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to create weird, creepy things.
Marie, show the chat. Show the chat your rainbow keyboard, please.
Okay, now you all have to be prepared because it's actually going to blind my camera momentarily. Shoom. Look at this.
Wow.
Pretty. It's Rainbow Land. It's Rainbow Land.
Anyone's watched Marie on this channel knows that is the least surprising keyboard for Marie to possess. Just want to know.
What?
Yeah, terribly offended and truly called out in the right way because it's true.
My deep secrets. How dare you know them?
Secret, yeah.
Marie, you ready for some definitely unrainbow cards?
Oh, I am ready. Watch me sprinkle them with rainbows of body parts.
I love it.
Our cards are very colorful, Carlos. I don't think you need to exclude our cards from the rainbow, is all I'm saying.
I'm just saying that the first card is the weak command people, the wise command ideas.
Oh, a naked card. I love it. I love this for Marie.
I am into the naked.
Yeah, it's only semi-naked, but it's naked enough for our purposes.
It's little still. I can't quite see it.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming. I'm being impatient.
It's growing.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I feel it.
Oh my God, Marie gets 2 lightning cards. Bring in the lightning. Oh, yeah. Marie, you've got a book coming out next month, I believe.
I do, on November 7th. It is very exciting. It is epic fantasy. Lots of people die.
Oh,
Marvelous.
Oh.
would you say that one of the themes is thrones make children of us all?
Oh. It seems to, but only Claire sits in the throne room today.
In my childlike naivete, my pure innocence, my dewy freshness. Dewy,
Marie.
I tell you, Hernandez.
Marie, would you like a third card?
Yes, I am just capturing these two. I have them. Yes, I would of course like a third card. How could I shirk the gift that the chat has given us? How could I? I'm not
Here.
that person.
You are not. You are not. You're the person with the rainbow keyboard.
I am.
Oh.
That is who I decide to be. Ooh, a blue card. What's blue
Oh,
again?
oh, Marie, you'll love this one. You'll
Oh,
love this
Will I?
one.
I'm all excited. Short.
Oh, nice.
How perfect the poem before it is written.
Oh. Oh,
That's
can I
your-
just quote that? Can that be?
I have a new one for you. How perfect the poem before it is written. Thank you.
That's and Marisa.
Just pull out my bottle of wine and sit here. I love it.
That
love
is
it.
amazing. It's actually the perfect card to end our draw as people try to make their poems out of the pieces that we've given them in their own imaginations. Marie, do you have what you need?
I have more than enough. Thank you all.
All right. We will clear these cards. I do have them if anybody needs a recall or anything, but I think we're pretty good there. And in the meantime, Greg, will you start the timer?
Yes. What is our timer at? Do we know?
That's a good question. So I think what we should do is maybe like 25 minutes and 25 minutes. Does that sound okay to everybody? I'm seeing nods, I'm seeing thumbs. This
Let's
seems
do
like
it
a plan.
25 and 25, and then depending on what we have time for, the writers were in our private Zoom chat contemplating perhaps doing an exquisite corpse in a rapid round at the end.
Oh, like a sentence at the time, like a sentence at a time?
Maybe like a sentence. Maybe everybody gets a card, or they get a card and they do a sentence at a time per card. That could be. I don't know.
So
We've never done it.
the timer is going, but chat has made multiple requests for the chat cards. They're like, can we have
yes,
a prompt? And chat does
absolutely.
deserve a prompt, in fairness.
Oh, they
Yeah.
deserve. I mean, at least 3, right?
Well, yeah, let's stop the timer for a second, Greg.
Okay.
Pat gets as much
wait.
time as everybody.
Why should she stop the timer though? The
Well, 'cause
writers
we have to give it to so chat. The writers can write, but the timer should stop so the
All right.
chat gets
Timer
25
stopped.
minutes.
The chat needs the timer on, right?
Yeah.
I get it.
All right. Hi, chat.
Hi,
We
chat.
love you. You're awesome. And here we go. Your first card. Oh, I love this card.
Looks like it's a Lagrimas. We've got a lot of mermaid cards this time, eh?
Yeah. Roots enough can bring the castle down.
Roots enough can bring the castle down. Interesting.
Make your screens real big. Capture that, chat. That's your first card.
I
Chat
wanna
enough
say-
can subscribe until the end. Chat enough can make subscriptions round.
The second card, I think the first card, Classic Or, you might have gotten one time because I feel like the poem that you wrote in chat might have used the Roots Enough card, but this is a little ghoulish. Get ready. Cat, the mouth has too many jobs.
I remember this one.
Ugh.
The
It's
chat
gross.
has too many mouths. No,
I have too many mouths and therefore I scream a lot more.
the mouth is too many chats. The chat is too many mouths. No, just enough.
Just enough mouths.
Just enough mouths, a memoir. Okay, chat. Now you get your own bonus that you paid for with kindness. So your bonus card, chat, is a very good piece of advice.
Oh, what's it? Which one?
Surrender with care.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. That's the second surrender card we have tonight.
Very interesting, huh?
Well, we are surrendering ourselves to this experience as artists. Yes.
That's right. Okay, so chat, just to make sure that you can grab the cards, I'm going to do like a 5 count on each one. Get your like phones and screenshoters ready. So your first card, Roots Enough, can bring the castle down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your second card, the mouth has too many jobs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And your final card, which has been on screen this whole time, surrender with care. Okay, chat, you have your marching orders too. Now, Greg, if you will start that timer.
Now I can start the timer. All right.
Oh, yeah. I hope our writers have muted us in their earballs and set their own timers, because we're highly distracting and super charming, and we can't have them just giggling at our jokes this whole time. They should be writing.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Claire.
What am I doing?
What is Negocios Infernales?
Negocios Infernales is a GM-less, diceless, tabletop role-playing game. And it features this 70 card deck called La Baraja del Destino, the deck of destiny, to inspire character creation, relationships, world building, plot, and finally your checks, your magic checks, your checks of wit as you race time to save your country. In a nutshell, there's a lot more to it, but what's all you need to know is you draw a card. It makes you think of something, you do that thing. When you create your character sheet, you have 4 cards that help create your character, all of different suits. You've seen some of the suits now. And so in role play later, if you have to make a huge decision or do something really awesome with your magic, you draw a card. Does it match one of the suits, the 4 suits on your character sheet? It does? Well, then you succeed and you use the card to narrate your succession. Does it not match? Uh-oh, you totally fail. Devastation, ruin, despair, and you narrate using the card to inspire you how that happens. It is totally possible to lose this game, but it is almost more fun to lose than to win, which, that's saying something. But it's really cool. It's really fun. There's, it's also something you can do without a lot of prep because you don't need a GM. Everything is collaboratively built together, the storytelling. And so that means that nobody's doing a day of work so that you all and your friend group can have a day of play. Basically, if somebody has read the rule book or is at least familiar with the parts from a YouTube video we put up of how to play, you can just sit down and do it in 3 to 5 hours with 3 to 5 of your closest friends.
Absolutely. And in fact, we built a quick start guide that you use along with the game to make it super simple to remember what step comes next. One of the goals that we had when we made the game was to invite non-role players into the fun of role play. So we just really wanted to make it super simple. And I mean, just think about it, chat. Maybe it lives for this. What is the simplest kids game you can think of? I'll give you a hint. It's not Uno. Uno, you've got to know numbers and colors. What's a kids game?
Go fish.
Go fish is pretty good, but you still have to know numbers. Like, do you have any 8s and, but like.
Hide and seek, they say.
Hide and seek is a great game, actually. But I was talking about a board game. What's the simplest board game for kids that you can think of? Anyone going to get it? I wonder.
What's the one with the bubble that you pop and it goes blah, blah, blah.
Oh, like there are a couple like that. Like Sorry has that mechanic.
Sorry, that's the one.
Yeah, Shoots and Ladders, Dragon's Brew saying, or Snakes and Ladders.
Yeah, Snakes and Ladders, Shoots and Ladders. That's a good one. Candyland is the one I was going to suggest to you that is like super simple because you've got a color and then you get a little card that tells you move to the next color. So there's no even like counting or anything like that. This game uses Candyland mechanics. Like that's how simple we wanted to make it. If you can match a card with a card that's on your sheet, victory. If you cannot, perdition. Like those are your 2 choices. But then you get to narrate it all, and you get this really excellent art by the artist Rebecca Houston to inspire you, and these creepy sayings that Claire and I came up with over a period of not too long. Actually, I think we generated them in like a week or something like that.
Yeah, you chose all the art, and initially before we had the artist, Carlos was using for the prototype just art from world history. And initially there were only 6 suits instead of 7. And I think we sat down on the couch sometime and you're like, I have some sayings and this is sort of what I'm going for. And this is sort of what each suit means. And then so we started kind of grouping sayings under the suits and riffing back and forth on each other until we had because you were sort of like crowdsourcing to get 60 at the time. And so that was the initial build as we were thinking about that.
Right. And then we expanded as we play tested. So we've been play testing for years and the game is now polished and ready to go. But one of the things that we discovered is that it was really fun for there to be a lot of risk in a card draw, but we also wanted to give it a little bit of a favor toward the player. So when you start out at the beginning of the game, for your initial card draws, you have a slightly higher than 50% chance to get a card that matches suit. That's going to vary drastically, either for or against your favor as you play the game, depending on which cards get used up. Because if you're watching other people draw cards that are on your character sheet, those cards aren't available to you. They're in the discard pile. So your chances of drawing drop. Whereas if you don't see people drawing your cards, your chances go up. So there is an interesting sort of like a mechanic that goes on there as you sort of like see the winds of fate oscillate right before your eyes, especially those of you who are pretty advanced game players. Like if you're a pretty good blackjack player, you're watching that deck and you're going, oh shit, that was the last Lagrimos card. I needed that. And so, doom might be a little foretold for you in those kinds of situations. Now, Greg, I have a question for you when you're ready.
Okay.
Did you get the link to the video?
Yes, I did. And I can post that link. Also, I wanted to ask, I'll keep this vague. Will we be making an announcement today about future appearances of Negocios on a certain Twitch channel that people know about?
I think we most definitely should.
Okay, I was assuming we would, but I didn't want to,
No, this game has no hidden information.
Okay.
All players know all information, including when we're going to do a full playthrough of Negocios Infernalis on twitch.tv/Arvin Eleron.
Right. So those dates are coming up fast, actually. So on the 11th and the 18th, we're going to have a 2-part series where we're going to do part 1 on the 11th and part 2 on the 18th. So you'll be able to see a full playthrough of the game with some wonderful players that we have lined up. Now, I think we'll keep the players, hidden for right now, but we'll be announcing them as we get closer to time. But
really, because I think I've said it on the internet. We just don't want to say it here. It's like a big
well,
secret.
Claire, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Say it.
Well, my gosh. Now I have to remember. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, no, right. So a lot of you probably in chat know Brendan O'Brien, who is a poet, writer, game designer.
Game designer of my TTRPG Gray Shade, currently playtesting exact same game at Big Bad Con. Anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, I am such a Brendan O'Brien fan. I mean, and I don't know what his game design is like, but as a poet, every time he opens his mouth, I just cry. I cry and cry.
Yeah,
and I
great.
read his poetry collection, and it's not like I'm crying because I'm sad. It's just so delicious. I am overwhelmed. So he's one of our players. And then Cassandra Kaw, who is another writer, a horror writer, multiple award-winning writer, poet, and game designer as well, game writer. They are going to be playing. So that's super, super exciting. And then our wonderful friends, Will Sobel, and another incredible writer and game designer, and his partner, Anna Russell, who is, I think she does game design too, Carlos. I know she's around all the games and playtests, everything.
Right.
They are two of the brightest, sharpest minds, power couple. And these 4 people playing together, playing Negocios Infernalis specifically together, I don't even know what will happen. I think supernovas.
I think it's going to be amazing. You'll remember Will Sobel from a couple of years ago when on this channel, he dungeon mastered the game that Rick Riordan and all the Rick Riordan Presents authors played on.
Yep.
So
Yep.
He's been a dungeon master a few times on this channel. We love Will. And Will and Anna together gave feedback on Negocios Infernalis at a critical point and really taught us how to end the game, how the game comes to its climax in a beautiful way. So we're super grateful for their playtesting and their genius, and they have wonderfully agreed to join us. So Greg, that link was less for putting in the chat because that's actually not public information right now. That link was hoping that you could open that in a different window and perhaps play the video.
I did. I didn't put it in the window. Did I? I didn't.
No, you didn't. You didn't. I thought you said you were going to share that.
Oh, no. I have it all set. I'm all good. No, for a minute I thought I did that. I'm like, wait, what? No, I did not. I am ready to go when you are. I will transition over. I have the video full screen, so it will just about full screen. So you'll be able to see it whenever you're ready.
Go ahead and mute myself because I don't know. I've never watched this video in the presence of anybody other than Carlos, since we just made it, and I'm a little embarrassed.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Well, I'm not embarrassed. I think it's awesome. But so chat, this is a world premiere. No one else has seen this video other than the people who've made it and helped us make it. So what you're seeing here is like I would say like a beta of the Kickstarter video that we're going to be putting up on October 10th. So Greg, whenever you're ready.
All right, here we go.
Hi, my name is Claire Suzanne Elizabeth Cooney, and I used to hate role-playing games.
Hi, my name is Carlos Hernandez, and I love role-playing games. So I wanted Claire to love them too.
I mean, RPGs sounded like so much work.
And my overeagerness probably didn't help. Hey, Claire, you want to read a 316-page rulebook so that you can engage in 11 hours of crunchy combat and, if you're lucky, seduce a bugbear? Oh. Okay. See you for dinner? That's when I made it my mission to make an RPG that even Claire would love. I wanted to capture all the mayhem and hilarity of my favorite sessions while making it ridiculously easy for newcomers to join in the fun. I thought to myself, what if, instead of dice, the game featured a deck of gorgeous yet ghastly cards that determined success or failure quickly, but more importantly, inspired awesome storytelling? Time for a field test. Hey, Claire, draw a card. See what it makes you think of.
Murder. Sweet, sweet murder. In fact, I got so excited, I decided to join Carlos in designing the game. And after years of iterating and playtesting, we are proud to offer you
Negocios.
Infernales.
Negocios.
Infernales.
Negocios Infernales is a role-playing game for 2 to 5 players.
The theme of the game is the Spanish Inquisition interrupted by aliens.
A game takes about 4 to 5 hours to play. There's no prep beforehand, and there's no GM.
In the first half, you'll create your characters and your world and decide on what kind of adventure you'll have. And in the second half, you'll roleplay that adventure, racing against the Sword of Doom to fulfill the orders of your problematic queen, Reina Resoluta.
Success is definitely not guaranteed.
But we've tried to make it so that failure is at least as fun as winning.
And either way, you'll have told a deliciously macabre tale with your fellow players.
And now I can say that I love role-playing games, especially ones that are as rules light and imagination heavy as Negocios Infernales.
So whether you've been role-playing since the 70s,
or you've never role-played a day in your life,
support Negocios Infernales' Kickstarter today
and find out how much fun RPGs can be. Murder for order. I don't know why I keep getting this card.
Well, that was awesome. If I can just say, that was tremendous. Let me get rid of that and transition us back over. That's an awesome video. Oh my God. And I left it. It was like super loud at the end. I left it up deliberately for that reason. Negocios!
Performed in 4-part harmony by our own CSE Cooney.
Amazing, amazing stuff. That's really, really cool.
I mean, performing is all well and good, but Carlos Hernandez wrote that song all by himself in 4-part harmony and did the awesome Spanish descant. That beautiful tenor you heard in the back, that was all him. And he also wrote the video. Carlos has been doing some comic book writing, and before that, like, had his first foray into some filmic writing like, a couple years ago. But you know, like, it just makes everything easier when somebody writes you a script and it's like, just do that. And I'm like, okay. Let's do it.
Just so you know, chat, the desk cat, that part that I'm sort of like yelling like a salsa tenor in the background, it's watch out for the devils coming from the sky are arriving. That's like the first line. And the second line is power for now and later hellfire. Just in case, you didn't hear.
I did wonder. I was just like, either way, it was compelling just to have, Spanish being shot off in the background, regardless.
but yeah, so that's going to be our Negocios Infernales video. I think it looks like you should have it up on the Twitch. I don't know if you wanted to put us back.
I do not have it up on the Twitch. I have transitioned over several minutes ago. You may want to refresh on your end.
Mine needed some refreshing. I just realized that because it was stuck on it.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right, so I was just looking at the time, and so the time right now is just a little under 8 minutes, right?
Under 9 minutes, about 8:34 is what we got left.
Excellent.
So we're all right. Well, so I will shift to interviewer here temporarily. So the Kickstarter is going live. We had you did have a date set for it or not? And there is one. Okay, and so when is it going live officially?
October 10th. We hear that game Kickstarters always go live on Tuesdays. So October 10th, and it ends November 10th, which is a Friday.
Okay. So that's going to be awesome. Can I ask, without spoiling anything, can I ask what cool, excuse me, what cool, so cool I couldn't say it. Can I ask what awesome stretch goals, can you give us an example of one goal that once the funding is reached, as I have no doubt it will be, what awesome stretch goal do you have planned? Things to add to the game, or like you will fly to anywhere in the world and your own desert island to play Negocios with people? No, like what do you have a stretch goal that you want to talk about that you're like, this will be cool, that you can reveal right now for the first time ever in public?
Yeah, so one of the things that we want to do as a stretch goal, and we really hope we make it because it's just going to make the game a lot better. So there's a little coin that you use in the game, and you put that coin on the Sword of Doom.
Right.
And every time you fail a check, the coin moves down the Sword of Doom. And if ever it's buried up to the hilt, it's coins for you and the other players.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, that's going to be a punch out, just like a sort of like, thick cardboard punch out, the way that you get in some games, like with money and stuff like that.
Yep.
But if we hit a certain stretch goal, we'll be able to do a metal coin. And it will just be super, super sweet. It will be super nice. So,
tell them what the coin says on both sides, Carlos.
So the coin, it has a mechanical function as well as being beautiful. But so the front side has a picture of your Reina Resoluta. She's the one who's giving you the orders in the game, and the one you might want to defy because she's morally bankrupt in most games. But on the coin, there's a picture of Reina Resoluta, and the inscription on the coin says, Vida corta, honor eterna, which basically means life is short, but honor eternal, which is the sort of like motto of the country, Espada, that you are playing in this game. On the back of the coin, it says, oh dear, it seems a complication has arisen. Because when you are playing the game, if you fail a check, that means that your mission has just gotten a little harder. And so one of the things that you'll improvise, inspired by the cards, is what exactly has gone wrong with the attempt that you had to, say, seduce that bugbear that you were going after.
Not that we have bugbears, Wizards of the Coast. We have no bugbears.
Oh, right. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast. Don't sue us into...
There's nothing.
Nothing said on this represents anything for Wizards of the Coast. This is
right. So, yeah, if you're trying to seduce a bear bug and you are failing to do so, tell us what the bear bug does. Does it try to eat you? Does it fall too amorously in love and now is really clingy and maybe you need some space, but you're not sure how to say it?
Is the bear bug bioluminescent? And when it's really clingy, does it start like glowing? Like, does it have a big glowy bear butt?
Wow. Well, that I mean, sure. And Negocios Infernales, that is totally possible.
Excellent. That's what I wanted to know. That's all I cared about.
Bioluminescent bear bug butt.
Yes.
Bear bug butt.
But anyway, so the coin is, we're really hoping to get that feature in there just because it's not even that high of a stretch goal. But if we can make that, then it will really augment the game. Just give that little extra piece of flavor.
And there's other pieces too. I'm not sure because we don't want to promise anything because everything's still kind of like being tweaked. But on a higher, much higher would be like if people wanted a neoprene mat of the map of Espada, which I think would just be really pretty. I mean, I'd probably just use it as a placemat and put my dishes on it, or we'd hang it on the wall or something because the map is so pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I might use it for Magic the Gathering. So those neoprene mats that they sell at the Magic stores, for you to keep your cards from sliding too much and stuff. It'll be that sort of mat, but it will have the map of Espada on it as well. So we have some pretty cool things lined up, and then just some of the rewards are cool. So we had our meeting yesterday with our publisher, Outland Entertainment, and we started getting things in order. Like we're going to have holographic stickers that feature the aliens. We're going to have a little enamel pin that people will be able to get at a certain level. And I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is the fact that if people go high enough for us, we'll play with you. We'll basically assemble a Roll20 with you and some of your friends or you individually, and we will play a game together of Negocios Infernales. We'll run it on Roll20. Yeah, we'll do a virtual.
Aro Danila X4 has said this a couple times, hoping for a hardcover art book. You know what? We have not presented that as a possibility. It would be probably a very high stretch goal or add-on or something, but it's true that Rebecca Houston's art and Shannon Pottras's additional art, which he did the graphic design and he did the map and everything, would make such an excellent, beautiful art book. It might be worth talking to our publishers at Outland Entertainment about because they're worth seeing writ large, aren't they? They're just so beautiful.
It would be pretty slick. Drew suggests that for a one-time donation of $50,000, Carlos and Claire will fly to anywhere in the world to play with you personally.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'll probably do it for $50 and a pack of smokes, but don't tell anybody that.
Oh, it's cost me all my money to come here. Like take the flight, like $500 hanging in cargo, so you get everything else.
Or worse, take Spirit because it's
right. Same deal, more or less. I mean,
How about Carlos will fly anywhere in the world, and Claire will just pack him in a suitcase and wish him luck. We do. I mean, one of the backing is that we will play with one level is you just get shunted into a game group of other people who've backed at that level, and then you get to play with us and strangers. Then the other.
That's a heck of a word. We just like throw you down a chute and you end up in a room with 3 other players.
Magically shunted, wizardly shunted, teleported into a virtual Zoom room with other gamers. And then a little higher level, I think, is where your game group, you get to choose the people you play with in your whole game group, and we'll run the game for you. It doesn't require a GM, but we could we'd be able to be the rule book basically, so none of you would have to be.
Yeah, exactly. And that actually turns out really well. That's what we did at Gen Con, where we served as the living rule book, and we had such fun, amazing playtests that way. So it's super fun way to enjoy the game. Very low pressure because the game is super simple to pick up, but also you don't even have to read the rule book beforehand. So we're hoping to get a few backers that way too.
It's going to be pretty slick.
Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a Twitch thing. Probably
I saw
the
that.
best one to answer.
I saw that. As far as sending the writings, Triffid, I think probably you can just maybe Twitch whisper them to me. We'll do, I think, what we did last time, where after the authors read, I will read a couple of the chat ones. If we get overwhelmed with tons of chat ones, we might not have time. But we should be able to read at least 1 or 2 of them, and I will do that. So you can just Twitch whisper me. The other thing I wanted to mention quickly was... no, I don't remember what I was going to say. Well, probably was not that important. I don't remember. But yes, just send it as a Twitch whisper to me, Triffid, if anyone has ones that they're doing in chat, and then we'll read those. I'll also mention that we have now about 22 seconds before we come back to the authors in our first 25-minute period. So are they going to be all... do we split the 25 minutes to be like, come back and do you need another 25 minutes? Is that the idea? What are we doing with the split?
I think they're getting a fresh draw, and so will the chat.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, it is now 3, 2, 1, kaboom. All right, so that is the end of the 25 minutes. So now...
Bienvenue, mes amis, bienvenue!
I see that people are...
Are they coming back?
Most of them smiling back, but not everybody. But okay, yes, fire. give us hellfire.
Marty's finishing. Got it? Everybody's good? Oh, here. Excellent, excellent. Oh, this is so great. This is so fabulous.
All right. We did it.
Marty's working on chapter 2. Yeah, exactly. It was the worst of times. It was the best of times.
I just had to end at a right spot, gang.
Yeah.
I have to say,
Time's up, bakers, hands up.
Exactly. I have to say, Starfield, which I have been having a blast playing, and I really, really like. But one of the things they have all over the place in the world is a ton of Charles Dickens stuff, and I'm like, right into my veins, man. Like, just give me all the hard times. Sign me the hell up. I love Dickens. So it's been fun to see that, as if I needed any other reason to like this game. But anyway,
all we need to do now is have writers share whatever the heck we came up with. And this is my favorite part. I love it. So happy to take volunteers, or, I do teach freshman comp. I will call on you. So just who would like to go first?
I volunteer as tribute.
It's Deborah, the hero we needed.
All right. So this is a poem called Lorelei Works Part-Time at the Coastal Immigration Office. They say to join Amphitrite's realm, you must drown. Sacrifice is naturalization. This is why you should never listen to cultists. Listen, if you pour a little poison in your cup, top it off with good tea, urchin black and sweet, and drink it down every day, you can slide beneath the waves whenever you wish. Make sure your poison is sea witch certified, or maybe become a pearl diver, just so you don't make me a liar on the whole drowning front. Of course, once you're here, all bets are off. No citizen of the deep is safe from its dangers. Come to think of it, land dwellers aren't safe either. Remember Dwaka, Atlit Yam, Thonis, Heraklion? Ruins are ruins for a reason, even if that reason's global warming. We're super pragmatists here, from flashing rainbow scale schools to bioluminescing abyssal loners. Maybe because, in the end, the sea will swallow all. And though people are suffering, shall we not drink wine? It's made by octopuses, Just don't ask where they get the grapes. Fill this out in triplicate and come back next week. Next.
Oh my gosh. Gosh, I'm just reminded of I don't know if any of you know that Kenneth Koch collection of poetry that he did with children called Rose, Where Did You Get That Red? And I was instantly reminded of Octopus, Where Did You Get That Grape?
That's good stuff.
So wonderful. Thank you so much, Deborah.
Thanks for going first.
Yes,
Awesome sauce.
absolutely. And I love how you incorporated the lines too. It's like one of my favorite things when people just like dump the lines right in there somewhere.
But it's also not required. So if you didn't do it, don't feel like guilt. It's just something fun that happens sometimes.
No, add it in right now. Do it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And also, you don't need titles, authors. Don't freak out. It's cool. It's cool. Everybody gets to do their own thing. Sometimes we have like a fragment of a paragraph, and sometimes somebody turns in a whole short story that seems like they wrote it 2 years ago and polished it. It's really cool. The variety of what we get is the kind of most exciting part.
Yeah, we're just drinking creativity, just unfiltered right now.
Like octopus wine.
Just like Octopus Wine, which is a great title, by the way. We also had Kooky Canuck is just subscribed. So we're now up to 112 subs. I don't know what else we want to add to what we already have. I can also start adding it to post-salon stuff if we need to. So you tell me.
Okay. But let's not interrupt the writers any longer. I'm dying to hear who wants to go next.
Yep.
And there's Kate.
I always like going first because I can listen better when I'm not worried about my own reading. I do have to warn you, y'all gave me guts. So they're going to be some guts. Do we have any FCC regulations, or may I use a swear word starting with SH? Very minor swear word.
Oh my gosh,
it's all good. Yeah,
if you actually have to use 4 every hour, they cancel your channel.
Fuck yes.
Well, I mean,
let's fucking do it. Okay, because I felt pressure to come up with a title. Meat guts are the best guts. It was the most beautiful day, and Eliza wanted to take advantage of this walk, her favorite walk at home by the shore at the cusp of fall after a rain. The salt-heavy smell of the ocean was underscored by the grass crushed beneath her feet, and the gulls were laughing. There were only a few more of these walks before she was off to college, where she would finally get her herbs and tinctures certification. The college was in the smelliest, citiest part of the city, and it would be a while before she saw the waves again, smelled the shore. She rounded the corner to the beach itself and saw her brother Tristan in the distance, bent over something furry. It had hooves. Not again. She thought for a moment about sitting this one out, walking back to the house and pretending she hadn't seen him, letting her mother find the evidence of his nasty habit. But she knew this was one time too many, and the full moon was coming fast. She ventured toward him, the sound of viscera squishing hitting her ears before the smell overcame the salty brine of the ocean. It was a goat. One of Papa's goats he'd been saving for the full moon ritual. Papa was going to be pissed. Tristan, what did Mama tell you? She was annoyed by the sudden petulant noise her voice made, like she was 13 again, not a mature young woman of 15. She'd have to work on that. But Tristan's ugliness always got her inner "that's not fair." He was always getting away with shit like this. And that was the odor that hit her next, pushing away any memory of the seafoam morning, any hope she'd had blossoming in her chest. In its place was a kernel of worry that set in her gut. What will happen when I'm not here to stop him? He didn't respond. He was enamored of the intestines he held in his hands, mesmerized even. Trist! He looked up, holding the intestines aloft in his shit and blood-stained hands, and said, "Can you hear it? Isn't it beautiful?" He had hit 13 this year, and Mama said she was concerned his urges would blossom. Mama didn't know how much. She didn't know that Eliza caught him crouched over a girl from his class, knife raised. Eliza pulled him off in time, and the girl, unconscious from a sleeping draught he'd likely boosted from Eliza's lab in the barn, was none the wiser. It had started with rodents, and Mama never minded when Tristan killed rats. Over the summer, they'd gotten into the grain, so the more the better. The problem is, Mama didn't think about why there were so many rats. The cats had already gone missing. It's when he got to the chickens she started to raise a fuss. They relied on the eggs. The problem was, Mama blamed Eliza. You were supposed to be watching him. Eliza couldn't explain that the last thing in the world she wanted to do was watch Tristan, and that one day she did, he went right ahead and killed the cat anyway. Papa needed that goat, she said. He shrugged and went back to work, saying, "Will you let me? You little..." She knocked the knife out of his hand, and it skittered toward the ocean. The blood and guts encrusting it turned the seafoam pink. Tristan rose to his feet, and in a moment his hands, covered with muck, were all over her neck. She shoved him and pulled away, but his hands glanced her bodice. She was furious. She had only 2 good dresses to wear to school, and she'd worn this one today specially. No way this mucky red and brown viscera wobbling off her cream bodice would come out. Ugh, I hate you. I can't wait to get out of here. Tristan got up and came at her again, shoving her into the waves. Me neither. You never let me have the nicer ones. Because it wasn't only one girl she'd stopped him from killing, it was 2. Little Gretchen down the lane, as she was bent over her milk cow. Eliza had gone looking for Tristan, expecting more chickens, but when she found him hovering over the poor girl with a rock raised, ready to come down, "There you are," she called cheerily as Tristan composed himself into fake cheer to mask it. She knew what would happen when he left town. She knew how bad this would get. Tristan was standing over her, heaving with anger, and he raised his foot to bring down on her head, but she was quicker and pulled it out from under him. His head hit something with a smack when she got to her feet, panting. She saw he was unconscious in the shallow waves. This wasn't violence. This was just the nudge of a foot. He lay heavily in the waves. Okay, maybe it was a crouch and a lift and a splash. Maybe it was putting her foot on his chest to keep him under. And maybe, just maybe, she smiled as she saw the bubbles come out of his nose and his struggling to life with surprise. And maybe it was a little satisfying watching him squirm, the red from his head moving off into the tide. But if she gave this tide her sacrifice, what would it return? And maybe these girls he'd been tracking, stalking, monitoring, maybe they would live long enough for better stars.
Oh my God.
Y'all messed me up, man.
Wow.
I was just thinking, like, the local girls would probably consider her their like local hero, basically.
Oh my God.
So
I was
great.
like legit scared. I was like, oh my God.
The poor goat, though.
Yeah. And
But they can get another goat.
And the cats.
Yeah. But that child was a menace to society, like literally.
gosh, I hope the tide gave her like a Ferrari or something.
Or like a
for her
cheeseburger at
RC.
least,
Yeah, full Happy Meal, right? Come on.
Yeah, with a
Wow.
toy. She deserves a Happy Meal toy for that. Little plastic goat. One of those screaming goats where you press and they go.
Oh my God. Amazing. Thank you, Kate, so much.
Thank you, Kate. Beautiful.
Wonderful for preparing us for the spooky season we are about to enter, or nay, some of us probably have entered already because we love our Halloweens. Who would like to go next?
I can go.
Marty can go.
Alrighty. Okay, cool. Should I just start reading? People can hear me okay? 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. All right. Take a little sip of water. Okay.
That's such a Brooklyn jar to drink out of, too. Just saying.
Oh, thank you. My big old mason jar. All right, here we go. You are forearm deep in the red earth when they come for us. You did not dress in raiment, even though we read in the bruised sky of morning that it was today that they'd seek our death. Does it scare you? I had asked, within the marble halls of your mind, familiar and warm, and exactly as I would wish any home, though it is no wonder. You were made for me, after all. I've been preparing for my end since my beginning, and at that, you laughed. But youth rests on your brow like lightning, sits in your heart like a fire. For death to dance with you so early, I trailed off. What could even I say to ease the truth? You didn't speak for a time. Your hands worked dough into the shape of tomorrow's bread, your fingers measuring, grinding, and brewing coffee that held cinnamon and clove, your wrists flicking ever so familiar the shells of egg out the window into waiting compost. In your silence, we enjoyed the morning's mottled light. And when the last bite of dripping yolk and buttered bread fell into your belly, I realized the shape of your silence. You'd always preferred to let your faith speak in your stead, and the day of your execution was no different. It was only as we ambled through the garden proper that you spoke up. Little scares me, Unlosh, you said, the honorific of uncle, the way the peoples of the Jeff Dronos used to say, it made me so desperately sad. Did you miss them as much as I did? Or rather, you continued, hands tender and light against the stalks of corn, the curling smile of rose petals, the crimson shine of growing apples. I used to be scared all the time until you arrived. When I was a little girl, everything terrified me. The smallest baby boas that crisscrossed the jungle trails like tangled vines, the midnight stories of the Nosk owl, double-beaked and double-sung, the crash and drumming fury of autumn storms when the whole of the Janos Vassos is so thick with rain, sight becomes a luxury, and one must learn to navigate the world by sound and feel. These things, yes, terrified me when I was younger. Even when I did my best to remind myself of my purpose, why I was alive, what was to come, still, I was scared. But then the day of my housing arrived, and you made a home with me. How can I be scared when my God lives within my body, my mind? How could anything be terrifying again, even my end? Through your eyes, I watched our day in the garden continue, stunned into a silence of my own. Why did your faith make me feel diminished, small? After all you had endured, your faith remained. Like a stone pillar, it had not crumbled, but held fast the temple of your heart, a temple I had hidden in for more than 30 years. But no longer we knew. Your hands worked in the red earth when we heard the sound of plate armor, your nose filling with the urgent stench of man-made magic. Which house had they stolen those words from? Whose bodies lay rotting, emptied of their gods, to make these meager little man things so powerful. The symbols on their shields and flags meant little. If you knew what the crocus and the fang meant, the jaw or the wing, you didn't say, or may not have cared. 12 of them arrived as though emerging from a silver mist, a vision which made my heart ache. In the way a bird might know the way south, I knew that silvered veil was my sibling's design. And if I could have wept, I would have. A man with all the presence of a swamp toad, feeling rather royal in his muck and mire, came forward. His eyes, though, burning with a blue fire, lit from some drug I can only call righteousness. And when he asked if you housed the god of death, you bowed your head in respect and said in a bold voice, "Yes, I do." Here we go.
Marty Cahill, what the fuck, man? That was so beautiful. Oh my gosh. You wrecked me. Like, I'm pushing tears out of my eyes right now.
Oh
It's
yeah, you
so
made Carlos
beautiful.
cry. So
Oh my God.
like when I say today I made Carlos cry, that's usually what I mean because he gets so affected by art.
Oh my
It's the best
God.
thing.
It was so beautifully elegiac and full of such poetry. Double beat and double sung.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Race the
So
roof of
beautiful.
hell.
Oh,
Thanks, guys. It was really fun.
magical stuff. Thank you
So
so much.
beautiful.
My pleasure. Thank you. We'll have to see where it goes.
Yeah, and you know
yeah.
you'll have another round if you want to keep going with this one, or
True.
however you want. You could start something totally different, but not yet, for we
Yeah.
have more writers to
We
read
do.
to us.
But let me just quickly say, writers here and writers in the chat and writers everywhere, several people have taken what they've begun in these Infernal Salons and published them in places like Uncanny and other great magazines and stuff out there. So, you know, maybe the seed of something great has started here. Marty Cahill, I'm looking right at you.
And
Oh my
Kate
gosh,
and
oh,
Deborah,
no,
I mean,
everybody.
like,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Kate did a full story. Deborah did a full poem. It's like it's
Yeah.
you know, like sometimes, like Maria Haskins was saying that, like she wrote did a story start. It took several edits, but that did end up being published for pro rate. So it's like Carlos and I have both had pieces published out of things that we did from Infernal Salon. So that's really cool. I just
Yeah.
love it.
Wonderful. Claire, who's next?
Oh no, they're volunteering themselves this
that's
time.
true. That's true. I'm used to just saying Claire pick somebody. Sorry. Do we have a volunteer? There's Marie.
I will do it. Whoops. Hang on, let me pull up my story. So, I feel like I should let you all know that I just kind of went with the flow. So this is like my brain, how it goes. And sometimes it goes a little bit weird and goes a little bit gross. So, you know, I'm gross is what I'm going to say. Okay. So we're leaning into it.
We love this, Marie.
Just, it's not all glitter. Sometimes it's decaying bodies. Yay.
Glitter and guts. Glitter and guts.
Glitter and guts. Yes. I love it. All right. The head caught my attention first, the severed one, though I suppose that was usual, missing its nose and one eye. Only one eye. Not the head without the skin, how drab, how usual and positively dull. No, the one missing its protruding fleshy bits, the one washed up in the tides of blood continuously striking the shores of my kingdom. How unusual and promising. Slowly, stomach twisting in anticipation, I nudged it with a naked foot, its slime coating my big toe, its jaw slacking open. I peered deep into the maw that once shouted words, declared love, cried in pain, spoke its name. My breath turned to a greedy shudder. Its tongue, its large purple engorged tongue, tumbled to the edge of what remained of its yellow teeth. The waves struck again, burgundy and thick, bodies washing ashore still this late in the day. It picked the head up gently, like a mother carrying a child, and slowly dragged it back toward the rocky bottoms. No! I cried, throwing myself on my knees, the viscous ocean filled with the entrails of its deep-water children licking me warmly, beckoning me to join them. With a trembling hand, I reached out to grab it, falling face first, iron blood with the sweet aftertaste of drowned dreams filling my mouth. Spitting, I reached out, stretched, took hold of the head. Still, it slipped. The crimson tide too strong, too greedy, the skull too slippery, my hands too trembling. And then it was gone, vanished back to sea. The tongue that could have told me so much, had I simply been able to consume it. How sweet the poetry my lips could have tasted, how bright the song, how spicy the story. It is the word that I seek that I cannot find. Not a mere regular word like zebra or pantaloon. No, this word meant to change the ebbs and flows of the relentless tide swallowing the shores of my island kingdom. Set too far from continents to be claimed, too near to be ignored, too small to be saved. I know the word lies on the tongues rising in bodies from deep below. In a world I could never visit, a land I care not to see, filled with hatred and seaweed. And magic. I smelled it on the wind. As a child, the third in line to a blood-soaked throne, I found the skull of a child, my first. Usually, only mere bones wash ashore, discarded like old firewood. Arms, fins, those legs. Well, at least I think they're legs. I wonder what they used them for. But this time, it was a skull. A small skull, not much larger than mine, at 10 years of age. I looked back toward the rock-carved palace of my family, which had consumed most of our island, and saw no one. When had I last seen someone? It didn't matter. I had the skull, my new companion, my confidant. Jeannie, I called her, after what my nursemaid had been called before leaving for the sea. With the skull, I shared the secrets that I could, though she had no ears. I showed her the world, my world, carved stones and crystal trees, crimson shores and empty rooms, though she had no eyes. Then she shared her secret with me when her jaw slowly opened and I saw it. The sweet purple fruit in her mouth, beckoning me to eat it. Its sickly sweet smell drawing out flies, seasoning for it. Slowly, delicately, not shirking aside this gift, I bit into it, nibbled, chewing slowly, identifying the palette of flavors I now devoured based on words I'd once heard. Grapes, leaves, dog? Bite by bite, I grew to know Ginny more, and the words she'd once spoken. War, horror, teeth, genocide. New words that shone in my mind like the red stars up above, reflected in the crystal trees, vibrating in my soul. I wanted to know more, craved knowing more, to find more words, more poetry from beneath the sea, for my voice to join the nighttime keening undulating over the waves like breath hitching from exhaustion. I craved more, words, knowledge, to live in this world far beneath, to die with the others and gently travel the crimson tide. But I had no more tongue to eat, no more tongue, no more knowledge, no more words. Jeannie, my nursemaid, had left by the way of the water, as so many before me did. I think all of them are gone now, though sometimes I think I hear someone walking in the dark depths of the castle. Once I saw someone walking on the shore. I'm pretty sure I did anyway. I think I saw her skull shortly after. Jeannie's skull, not the random person walking on the shore. I can't be sure. She had no eyes or nose or tongue or anything distinguishing it. But anyway, I like to think it was her. I keep the skull by the bed in my furrow of a room. It keeps me company when the keening becomes too much, the darkness too deep. It's nice, but it can't give me more words, and it's the words that I crave. That's it.
When the keening becomes too much.
That's it, you dare to say. Oh my God. That was so realized. That voice is amazing.
Marie just put the infernal back into Infernal Salon.
Oh my God. I mean, I literally fell out of frame as you were describing chewing on that tongue. I was like,
nibbling, little nibbles on an engorged purple tongue.
Oh my God.
I like that she like kind of like devours her vocabulary, basically.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and sometimes the tongue is what gives you language, right? Like,
Exactly. Who knows? Test it. I don't know.
right. We've also got people in the chat craving tongue tacos now. So just know that, this is the kind of chat that can appreciate your writing. Wonderful. Oh my gosh. So evocative. Wonderful.
So great.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, writers. Who's left? We've got Preemy and we've got Valerie. Is that right?
That's right.
Which one? Valerie?
She went like this. I think yeah.
I'll
Definitely.
go. I'll let Preemy bring it home. Oh no. I mean, I'll let Preemy do whatever Preemy wants to do.
There's a song like that. Whatever Preemy wants, Preemy gets.
All right, hold on, let me get my file up. Okay. So yeah, reminder, I had murder for order, desire is the reason of reasons, and there cannot be a soul, there must be a soul. All right. Rain pounded on the roof, and bare guttering candles licked shadows along the stone walls of the chapel, empty but for Bellona and the twisted corpse atop the altar. Cleric Aaron's arm was flung across his face, his palms sliced open, trails of now congealed blood ending in the pool beneath his disordered, crimson-stained robes. That wound, of course, was not mortal, not like the second mouth beneath his chin. She knelt beside the body, an unctuous feeling skimming her skin beneath her clothes, and peered at the gaping cut to his neck. Its edges were clean, skin and muscle laid bare to a surprising depth. The killer had a sharp blade and a strong hand. Bellona looked up at the sound of approaching footsteps. One of the other clerics, whose summons she had answered with all the haste her mount could manage. Modest brown robes cinched around the woman's waist with a braided cord, and her hair was pinned into a crown atop her head. The most notable aspect of this otherwise unremarkable person was a pair of dove-gray eyes, a color Bellona had only seen once before. He was found like this, whispered Cleric Fatima, as if the man were asleep and she didn't want to wake him. One of our flock came to light a candle for her sick mother, and she... I will want to question her, Bellona said. Fatima clasped her hands together before her, knuckles white. She is, as you might imagine, quite upset. Natural death or accidents are one thing, but this... It is gruesome, Bellona agreed. Alas, I fear there is worse yet to discover. The tip of her sheathed sword dragged against the floor as she moved to the corpse's legs, grasping the hem of his robes. She lifted the loose fabric and peered underneath. What are you doing? Fatima asked, her voice shrill. He was not merely murdered. Bellona dropped the robe and stood. He was disemboweled. When my associate arrives, I expect he'll discover that the heart and liver are missing. Fatima covered her eyes with her left hand and made the sign to ward off evil with her right. Bright Lady, preserve us. Who would do such a thing, and why? Who indeed? A scent of incense strengthened as Bellona called upon her magic, searching for the last piece of information she required before moving to the next stage of this inquest. Fatima began to glow with a silvery holy light, as befit a cleric of the Bright Lady. The room, too, seemed to fill with an ethereal fog, shimmering with tiny sparks of power accumulated over decades, perhaps even centuries of faithful worship. Around the altar, however, it was as if a circular wall had been erected, stretching up to the vaulted ceiling. Within that boundary, an unhealthy shade of green rippled, drifting in and out of the corpse's orifices like the contents of a barrel of eels. Cleric Aaron had been sacrificed to bring a demon into the realm, his soul consumed, denied its natural passage to the hereafter. Now it fell to Bellona to find both the summoner, whose desire for power would not be sated with a single fell pact, and the unholy creature whose very presence would taint the land and incite dark thoughts and deeds of the populace. Bellona gripped the hilt of her sword. She had no love for killing, but sometimes it was a necessary evil in the service of all that was good. The Bright Lady would guide her in this, as in all things. As if to underscore this, the rain abruptly ceased. When Bellona stepped outside, the sun glinted off wet cobblestones, the sense of the city rising around her as she mounted her patient horse. Dove-gray eyes lingered in her memory, a clue and a warning. She knew who might have answers to that mystery, and so she nudged her mount into motion and walked him toward the mansions at the top of the street of statues.
Wait, it can't be over. You have to have written 24 chapters of that. I'm in now.
You Miss Lowrider.
You're not. You did that in 20 minutes. Come on.
25 minutes, and when we got Bologna and the horse and the street of statues, and there's a disemboweled monk, and I don't know. I want it all.
I know. I was just sort of like, oh yeah, okay, so I'm ready to sit here for 3 hours. What?
All I need are some tacos, and I'm good.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Valerie. Claire, I'm going to remind you that we actually have not yet read the biographies of our authors.
I already thought about that, but I thought since they have to write a second time because of the generosity of the chat, I might as well just extol their glory on the second round.
Yeah, round 2, we will be telling everybody just how amazing all of these authors are.
Carlos, if you wanted to join them, I know you mentioned maybe writing the second round, then I would happily I'll do the monologue of the author's glory. No problem.
We want to also save time to let chat share their stories too. So I think for right now, we should let Preemie read. Preemie, are you ready?
I am ready. Mine is not going to seem like a horror story compared to these, and it's also going to seem like I didn't use the cards because they were all going to be in that last scene that I ran out of time to write. So apologies. Oh wait,
everything you wrote is right.
You said no apologies allowed.
Exactly. The thing is, without these cards, you probably wouldn't have written the first 20 minutes of writing. It doesn't matter. You don't have to use the cards, but you're here because of the cards, which is all that matters.
They're pointing towards the cards. So mine were the soul loves all, the mind but some. The trained tongue enjoys a little bitterness, and pain is the opposite of thought. The alchemist Honoratus built his house in the mountains, because the city had, with its noise and its stench, its crowding and its death, driven him out as surely as if it had used sticks and rocks. With the money his father had given him to attend the great university in Wittgenstein, he instead bought planks and nails and oilcloth for the windows. He had no training in carpentry, and the house looked it, but he built also a scaffold up the side of the bare stone, telling himself it was like a second house. On the scaffold, he cooked his meals, hung his washing, aged cheeses, occasionally flew kites. It was after the third time he was struck by lightning that the powers he sought finally came to him, and he felt a closeness, a perception of the universe, the sense that all the atavistic powers of beasts, which he knew they must have, had returned to him, had blown away his thin veneer of civilized thought that prevented him from accessing the abilities of the gods. He began to seek out particular herbs, choosing them for their bitterness, crushed in his fingers and held to his nose or his gums. He climbed through the mountains and hunted out gems and crystals in the deepest caves. He communed with the elemental spirits now and then, sleeping on his scaffolding in the dead of winter. He knew he should have died. He awoke every time, waxy, blue-white, and stiff as a corpse, but his mind still worked. And then the 10th year of his alchemical seekings, he drew a circle on the floor of his workshop with red ochre, and he summoned a demon, surprising them both. "I am Honoratus the alchemist," he said. The demon, which had appeared in the form of a man, slender and silver as a knife, with pale hair and pale eyes and bare feet under its cobwebby robe, said, "I am Rimohoth, and I am your doom." "I have bound you with all the powers at my disposal," Honoratus said. "I can damage even your infernal and ethereal flesh if need be, but I ask only your cooperation." "Very well," said Rimohoth. "It is something to do anyway, and one does tire so of tormenting souls." And so began their partnership in the rickety house in the mountains. As the years went on, Honoratus replaced the wood with brick and then stone. He hired caravans to fill the house with lamps and candles, tapestries and carpets, a wooden bedstead with a feather mattress on it. He bought glass for the windows. He bought, when the seekers of wisdom became too many, a lock for the door. Still, he climbed the planks he had affixed to the bare stone of the mountain, and he pressed his cheek to it during storms, feeling the ticking away of those tiny machines the spirits had assured him composed everything in the universe, feeling the count of one element turning into another. Rimohath assisted him occasionally, disappearing when the bishop's men came to search the house, lest they smell the stink of sulfur, which might have been all it took to drag the alchemist off to imprisonment and torture. Honoratus always let him out of the circle now, so that the demon could fly the wide world in disguise and fetch back books and scrolls and stone tablets from the old places and drawings and paintings from those countries across the oceans that Honoratus knew he would never be able to reach. I love you, Rimohath told him one day. You are the only man I have ever met that I did not wish to kill. The only one in all the world. You cannot, Honoratus said. We will never be together. You will not say you love me too? Said the demon. After all this time? I want to, Honoratus said, but I cannot allow myself. My powers are too important, my future too important. My very destiny will change the destiny of the world. I can't allow myself the distraction of love. It's a lie, it's all a lie, shouted the demon, and vanished. When Honoratus attempted to summon him again a fortnight later, the demon did not come. But this time he felt it was a matter of great urgency, and he shouted into the sigil his most powerful magic words. He wrote it on crystal sheets and pressed them to the center of the markings. He employed his darkest magics, all to no avail. He had never had a lover's quarrel before. He did not know what to do. There were no answers for some reason in any of his spell books. He wondered briefly if what he felt was real pain, or something else, only ambition, or only impatience. He thought he knew less about the world than he had originally believed. At last, he forcefully called upon all the spirits who'd been assisting him over the years, and he poured the blood of a ram into the circle, and Rimohath appeared at last, reluctantly, unhappy. We have a chance to create something that will save the world, Honoratus said. For the love you once bore me. For the love I still do, said the demon sadly. Then please help me, and then I will never ask anything of you again, because I will never need to. What is it? Said the demon, because now he was curious. I know how to make what the wise men Paracelsus and Trigestimus called the Catholicon, said Honoratus. I alone have deduced the formula. They were all on the wrong track, trying to make lead into gold to enrich the men of earth. But the Catholicon is the universal remedy. It can cure all ills. It will cease all wars and all suffering. Man will live again as long as he did in the time of the giants and the angels. I do not think my master would like that, said Rimohath. Nevertheless, I will give what help I can and suffer his wrath later. That is not something I will let you do, Honoratus said, and before the demon could escape his grasp, the alchemist seized the silvery arm and drove in a thorn coated with some dark, waxy substance. This, he said with great pride, is something no other man has. This is the great work of my accumulated knowledge, a poison for incorporeal things. It cannot harm a mortal being. Rimohath fell to the stone floor, covering himself in red dust. He was in pain. He could not see. He barely heard Honoratus explaining what he was doing. Extracting blood, he said, which he would purify and refine and add to the list of ingredients in the cauldron he was setting above the fire. But it seemed much blood was needed. Too much. The demon grew faint. He wondered if he would die, or if he would live like this, forever, trapped and suffering. His rage and betrayal also grew faint, like an echo, dying in the canyons of the mountains, bouncing from stone to stone till it was gone. To love was a mistake. Always the man had been plotting his demise. Or perhaps not always. It was terrible not to know. He beckoned the alchemist closer with the last of his strength. A question only, he said. I cannot hear you, Honoratus said, busying himself with the amber glass bottle in which the demon's lifeblood shone like mercury. Please, the demon said. Come closer. And then I ran out of time.
Oh my God, we were so into that demon lover. So into him.
It's a good thing we got another 25 minutes.
But we'll see what Preeby does. Preeby doesn't have to finish the story.
Preeby can do whatever.
I don't know. There's a
after
lot of
writing
all
that.
caps in the chat, though. There's a lot of all caps, like right now, about people. No, what? Why? No, more. You know.
It's a little bit though, like that Lady and the Tiger story. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's done and it's evil and it's beautiful. Oh, Preeby! Oh my God!
So exciting!
Oh
my gosh! Well,
well, hold on. I just wanted to say, all of you did fantastically as writers, but also, who trained you all to perform? Like
So
you all were amazing readers of your own, like 2 of 1, just gorgeous readers, ridiculously great. I mean, seriously, like I went to graduate school for creative writing. I've heard writers recite their own work. They suck. Like
Carlos, these are professional writers who had to do so much reading in public.
Oh, I mean, you all are just incredible. I mean, I'm cracking wise a little bit, but really, you really are incredible readers and writers. And I knew it was going to happen. We've seen it happen before. Amazing genius writers do amazing genius things with Negocios and Finales. But I'm still flabbergasted. It's just so great. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
It never doesn't work. Like we were at Gen Con and we got to run a live Infernal Salon at Gen Con, and we were like, maybe a couple people will come, right? Over 60 people came. It was a 2-hour event. Almost everybody read, like it was amazing. It blew our minds. And some people had never written before. Some people were writers, but not professional level. Some people, and they were so brave, and they got up there in front of a microphone, in front of a room full of 60 strangers. And it was still stunning. And it just, no matter if it's like a Zoom with like all pros who I just want to like hug, or like complete, Gen Con strangers, it's so beautiful. I just love it so much.
Really, I do too. I teach creative writing, and a lot of times what I do, I would say a good 70% of my job is telling people they have permission to actually write what they can write, because we live in a culture that tells people they can't write and that everybody's better than you and that you're never going to make it and your creativity is invaluable. But then they turn in their work and it's like this, where I'm just always gobsmacked by the beauty and the power of it. And of course, you all are tremendous talents. Like there's nothing, to take away from that. But everybody has this creativity inside of it, and we should be thinking, I think, of creativity less like a job and more like just something humans do. Like we are just we talk all the time and we tell jokes and we're full of humor. So anyway, wonderful stuff. Greg, let me ask you a little bit about timing and things like that.
Okay.
How many contributions from chat did we get?
So we have another sub that just came in while you were talking from a Rudenella. Gift sub to Gon Eden, who is actually Jennifer Brozek. So hi, Jen. Good to see you. So I mean, we have like we're well over. I mean, like we're doing great on the sub side. So basically, I know that we were set to go to 7:00. I don't mind going a few minutes later easily, and have no problem going later if folks can do that here. I don't want to hold anyone here beyond 7, which is what we agreed to. But I mean, again, I would love to, give these writers a chance. One thing I can say is that while they're writing, I can read, because we've gotten 2, one from Classicor and one from Trifid, for prompts. So I'd be able to read those while the authors are working. But again, timing is really up to what you folks wish to be able to do.
Why don't we, what we'll do is draw the cards for the writers right away, set their timer, draw the cards for the chat who wants to. While people start writing, I will, Carlos and I will read the bios of the writers here in their full glory.
Okay.
And maybe you can put the links back in the chat like you did earlier.
Yep.
For where to find their beautiful work. And then towards the end of that 25 minutes, you read Triffids and Classicors, and then we will launch into this last bit. Writers, I will let you perhaps in the Zoom chat decide if you want to do the Exquisite Corpse or just have your own I guess we could decide now. If you do the Exquisite Corpse, we could just pull 6 cards, one for each of you, and you could work it out in the chat. Or do you want to just do your own thing again?
I think an Exquisite Corpse might be a little difficult unless people are feeling really comfortable just pulling a card and immediately starting to speak, because then you have to listen to what the other person had to say and build off of it. So I think that would build in a lot of just dead air.
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
did it that way.
Well, I was gonna say it would be like they do it in the 25 minutes in the Zoom chat, and they'd have a lit like they'd have a number order they'd go in, but that's fine. It is a little tricky logistically. Maybe we'll do a whole other event as just Exquisite Corpse.
Yeah, let's figure out how to do it properly,
Yeah.
like so that we can do that. But in the meantime, what I'm going to suggest, just so that we have time to read, is that maybe we cut the time down a little bit and we do much more of a speed round, And so, I mean, everybody did so gloriously, and it doesn't matter if you finish or not. But if you thought, sort of like Drabble or something, like that 100 word story or 200 words, or a joke, something that you can do in 10 minutes, like maybe.
Shall we do 2 cards in 15 minutes then?
Yeah, and here's one other thing. What do you think about this, writers? What if you all had the same cards? So basically, I've just put up 2 cards. Everybody uses them, but you use them however you want, and then we can just see how people use them differently.
How about 3 cards then? If there's only 3
cards, yeah, that's a good idea.
We'll do 3 but the chat should use the same 3 cards as well.
Absolutely, the chat should use the same.
Okay,
all
cool.
Right. I think we've got it. Figured out. Okay, so everybody, go back to Greg's channel so that you can see the 3 cards that I'm going to put in front of you right now. All
right, chat. This is also for you. And remember, this is a 15-minute-a-thon.
It will be 15 minutes. Your first card is coming up presently.
Even as we speak. Ooh, it's a Carne card, everyone. Thank you, Marie and Kate. I feel like Marie and Kate win the Carne suit this round.
The card reads, "What the mind wants, it must purchase with its body."
And boy, don't our writers know it tonight.
Yes, indeed. Another Carne card. Oh yeah, we're eating tongue tonight, everybody.
Remember, we suggest making your screens big and capturing this, and it's
your second card is Trees Eat Meat.
That's one of my favorite cards. I know I always say that, but this one really is one of my top 10.
I'm gonna let you just focus on this. You may want to take a picture of this right now, because I'm going to put a card sort of betwixt and between them. So maybe gather ye devices and print screen buttons and things like that. Okay, here comes card number 3.
What is it? I'm so excited.
Oh,
is it the best one?
I mean, with these 2 cards, it's amazing. Morality rots faster than shrouds.
Oh man, another Aire. We've had Aire and Lagrimas heavy, except now meat at the end.
Yeah, I think we featured those 2 a lot. Okay, so let me just show you the cards one more time. The first one we drew, "What the mind wants, it must purchase with its body." The second card we drew, "Trees eat meat." And then here in the center, "Morality rots faster than shrouds." Remember, you don't have to use all the cards. You can use one little detail from one card. You can, mix and match. You may never even get to the thing that inspired what you were going to write in the first place. Doesn't matter. Whatever you write is right. But Greg, when you are ready, are you able to reset the timer to 15 minutes?
I can. And 15 minutes. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay, why don't you go ahead, Greg, and I'm going to switch over to the bios while you do that.
Okay, all set. We're rolling.
Meet our writers. Carlos, should we just switch off between?
Yeah, I'm pulling your webpage up. So if you do the first one, I should be ready by the second
speaking of that, chat. Yeah, this is all up on my website, which is csekuni.com. It's the latest entry. Infernal Salon. It has a lot of useful links, or maybe it doesn't. I can't remember what I put on there, but that's okay. Meet our writers. Premi Muhammad, whom you just heard read, is a Nebula, World Fantasy and Aurora Award-winning Indo-Caribbean scientist and speculative fiction author based in Edmonton, Alberta. She has been a finalist for the Hugo, Ignite, British Fantasy and Crawford Awards. She is an assistant editor at the short fiction audio venue Escape Pod and the author of the Beneath the Rising series of novels, as well as several novellas. I can highly recommend her novellas. Her short fiction has appeared in many venues, and she can be found at her website, which very naturally is www.premimuhammad.com. And I want to do a special shout out to her Patreon. Patreon support artists on a monthly subscription level, much like Twitch. And this would just help her every month make art. www.patreon.com/preemie.
Wonderful. So next person on our list, Kate Maruyama is the author of Harrogate, Halloween Beyond, A Gentleman's Suit, Bleak Houses, and the upcoming The Collective, from writ large projects and alterations from Running Wild Press. All sorts of publications happening for Kate this year. She's a writer of horror and the real horror realism. She writes, teaches, cooks, and eats in Los Angeles, where she lives. She serves on the Diverse Works Inclusion Committee of the Horror Writers of America and on the working board of Women Who Submit Lit, a group of women identifying and non-binary writers that works toward promoting gender parity in publishing. And I think we have some links for Kate's work, Bleak House and Triptych of Halloween novellas, Halloween Beyond, Piercing the Veil, in the chat.
And the Halloween Beyond Piercing the Veil is a triptych she wrote with two other horror writers. So I just also want to say, Kate, I've only known her in person since June this year, although we did meet on a panel, but she has been so nurturing and so generous to my younger brother, who is just starting to write horror in the last couple years. And she's been sending him links and opportunities. And, she just met him once in the lobby. I find it so warm and generous, and just want to thank her. So we have Marie Bilodeau, is a French-Canadian author and storyteller who writes mostly in English because, as her family would say, she's contrary. Her speculative fiction has won several awards and been translated into Chinese and French, to her family's delight, though they still believe her to be contrary. Marie is a storyteller and has told stories in both languages, French and English, presumably, maybe Chinese, who knows, across Canada in theaters, tea shops, at festivals, and under disco balls. Oh man, I want to tell a story beneath a disco ball. Find out more at http://www.mariebilodeau.com. And I don't know if I messed up that link, but I hope it'll go to that. But if not, I'm sure you can Google her. Find her at her website.
Awesome. Valerie Valdez's work has been featured in Uncanny Magazine, Fit for the Gods, and Nightmare Magazine. Her debut novel, Chilling Effect, was published by Harper Voyager in September of 2019 and Orbit UK in February of 2020, with starred reviews in Kirkus Reviews and Library Journal. It was shortlisted for the 2021 Arthur C. Clarke Award and was also named one of Library Journal's Best SF Fantasy Novels of 2019. The trilogy is now complete with Prime Deceptions and Fault Tolerance. Her space fantasy novel, Where Peace is Lost, was released in August 2023. Congratulations. Valerie is the co-editor of Escape Pod and currently works as a freelance writer and copy editor. She's a graduate of the University of Miami and the Viable Paradise Workshop, and has taught classes and given lectures for Writer's Digest, Clarion West, and Georgia State University. She has also served as a municipal liaison for National Novel Writing Month since 2006. That is great work. Get
awesome.
More people writing. She lives in Georgia with her husband, children, and cats, and website forthcoming.
Yes, the website is really cool. It's candleinsunshine.com. There's a link there, but I just wanted to let you know because it's so pretty. Like, what a pretty name for a website. Candle and Sunshine. It's like, it looks brighter than it is when you think about it, because the candle in sunshine sort of fades out, right? But in the written words, it's just two bright things side by side. I love it. Anyway, here we have Deborah J. Brannon. Dedicates her nights and weekends to scribbling furiously and reading so much and so fondly that it certainly turned her brain. Her articles and reviews have appeared in Fairy Magazine, which is now called Enchanted Living, Stone Telling, and Cabinet des Fées, while her original work can be found in Human Tales, edited by Jennifer Brozek, Scheherazad's Bequest, and more. Current projects, this is exciting, include a poetry chapbook called The Beltane Verses, written with her brother, a card game inspired by Hanahaki disease, which is fun if you Google it, and even more mysterious and startling delights to be named soon.
That's incredible. I need to ask what Hanahaki disease. I've never heard of it.
Let me Google it and read it to you, and I'll read it to you after you do it.
Yeah. So, let me cover Martin Cahill. Is an Ignite Award-nominated science fiction and fantasy writer living in Hell's Kitchen, New York, and working as the marketing and publicity manager for Erewhon Books, one of our heart publishing imprints out there. He's a graduate of the Clarion Writers Workshop of 2014 and a member of the NYC-based writing group Altered Fluid. You can find his fiction work in Clark's World, Lightspeed Magazine, Nightmare Magazine, Shimmer Magazine, Fireside Magazine, and Beneath Ceaseless Skies, and forthcoming with Tor.com and Sunday Morning Transport. I think the Sunday Morning Transport one just came out, in fact. His short story, Godmeat, appeared in the Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy of 2019. And
I love Godmeat. So good.
Godmeat's great and also really in theme for this game. He was also one of the writers on Batman, The Blind Cut from Realm Media. Martin also writes and has written book reviews, articles, and essays for Tor.com, Catapult, Ghostfire Gaming, Book Riot, Strange Horizons, and the Barnes & Noble Science Fiction and Fantasy blog. You can find him online at McFlyCahill90. That's 2 L's, so McFly Cahill 90. Keep an eye out for 2 forthcoming stories we will witness with Sunday Morning Transport, which, like I said, I thought, maybe I saw the announcement. I'm sorry, because it looks like it's coming out 10/22/23. A story of 2 young people, a millennial apart, meet. For one of them, it is an important moment of their life. For the other, it is the moment of their death.
Also an important moment of life.
Yeah. The other story is The Moment Before the Moment, forthcoming from Lightspeed, November 2023. Ozon spent his entire life earning the role of Imperial Foresight, precognitive bodyguard to his divine ruler, but now, forcibly retired 3 weeks into that role, what will become of the life of a young man who can see a tomorrow for everyone but himself?
I love it.
Yeah, we heard a little bit of this, I think. He did an early reading of it when we did it at the Brooklyn Books and Booze reading, I think it was.
I have not yet been to a Books and Brews reading.
So maybe it was just me that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and you can find a link to Marty Cahill's reading in the chat right now. Those are our august and storied storytellers, chat.
Just martintcahill.wordpress.com. But Carlos, Hanahaki disease, a fictional disease in which the victim coughs up flower petals when they suffer from one-sided love. It ends when the beloved returns their feeling. It's romantic love only. Strong friendship is not enough, or when the victim dies. It can be cured through surgical removal, but when the infection is removed, the victim's romantic feelings for their love also disappear. It was a trope popularized in East Asian fandoms, Korean, Japanese, and Chinese, before it was used by Westerners. In fandom, it appears most frequently in relation to BL pairings. The Hanahaki disease trope is not used exclusively within fandom. Many people have become intrigued by the concept and created non-fanish artwork, poetry, songs, music videos, and documentaries. So this is really cool because Deborah Brannon's forthcoming project, I will just is a card game inspired by the Hanahaki disease, which I super now want to play.
Oh my gosh, me too. That sounds amazing. What a great premise for a game. It's extraordinary.
So such a good idea. You heard it here first, folks. So maybe when there's a play testable thing, maybe we'll get it up on Roll20 and we'll be able to play Deborah somehow.
Yeah, I'd love to return the favor. Deborah has been such a friend to this game, so it would be wonderful to do that.
I was going to say, real upset that Carlos and Claire like a card game that is about strange and mysterious things and so on.
Greg, I know there's 4 minutes on the timer, but I wonder if you wanted to start reading, if there was still stuff to read, that the writers could slowly ease their way into the narrative, and then we will springboard off of them.
Sure. I should be able to get at least Triffids done. We'll see. Classic or we'll see. We'll get both of them read one way or the other at some point. So, okay. So Triffids wrote a poem that begins with a list of verbs: admonishing, aggrandizing, biting, berating, commanding, kissing, defining, dining, enunciating, elucidating, flourishing, firing, gormandizing, glossing, hectoring, hating, inspiring, and instructing. The jobs of a ruler's mouth can go on for years, but how often do those rulers use their ears? And do they only hear themselves repeated, or do they take care to seek out the defeated? Sometimes the humble cannot even speak, but still those on high should bear in mind that if not careful they may yet find, when you trample on people, your footing is unsteady. Better serve the people well, or else be ready to learn that those down below have power to wreak uprisings, uprootings, upendings, upsets.
Oh my gosh, fantastic!
That's great, Triffid.
Yeah!
Wonderful. Wonderful.
What a magical use of that card. I love it.
That's
oh my
really
God.
good stuff.
I want to read it with my eyeballs.
Yeah.
there's some great-
I can send later on too.
I'd love
yeah.
that. I had it. The rhythm was beautiful in my mind, and I just kind of want to dwell on it a bit because there were so many great lines in there. Why don't we? Why don't you try reading Classicors? It's okay if the timer runs out and the writers drift back
Slightly
in.
over. Okay. So Classicors is a story, not a poem. So I knew he would not breathe. Of course he wouldn't, but I looked anyway. After all, my whole life I had seen him breathing. To think that his chest would never rise again, but it wouldn't, and it didn't. Of course, my father missing his head did not help. Ah, yes, I can see the resemblance, said the old priest at the end of the church. He was old, older than a human had any right to be. He looked more like a bundle of rotten twigs in his robe than a living being, but still, somehow, he had held on to his position as head of this blood-soaked cult when generations of us villagers had cowered in fear and despair. That is, until the stranger came. Her offer was simple: the means to free ourselves, to avenge the dead, and to end this nightmare. The price was reasonable, given everything, given the alternative. Now we were standing on a stone floor so stained in crimson over the decades, centuries even, that I could only guess at its original color. Only a handful of us had made it as far as the church doors. Fewer even were with me now that we had broken our way through them. The smell of burning wood mixed with the miasma inside the building, and despite it all, the priest just stood there and smiled. Whole families lay strewn about on the grimy floors, rotting where they had fallen, rough stumps where their heads had once been. We had known to expect horror, but we still halted in our assault. Just long enough to start dying. The priest was among us between two heartbeats. His fragile gait was gone, replaced with the bestial energy of a natural predator. No, not natural, I reminded myself as I looked into his savage visage, all vestiges of humanity gone, replaced by fangs and anger and the joy of inflicting pain. Next to me, a girl I had once been sweet on before she had married a friend of mine went down, her sword cleaving into the priest even as his claws tore into her. A moment later, my old teacher gurgled his last behind me as his throat was torn out. These were not clean deaths, not quick, not effective, just cruel. "Enough!" I yelled, and I put a hint of the power into my voice the stranger had taught me. To my surprise, the priest halted, his hands deep in the chest of the man who used to push me into the mud when we had both been children. "Curious," the priest beast said, smiling through dipping fangs. "I offer a trade," I said quickly before my courage left me. "Let them go. Please." "And what would you offer in trade?" he snarled, licking his cracked lips. "Myself," I said. "My life, my blood, willingly." "A self-sacrifice. How delicious." The priest suddenly stood behind me, and I could hear him sniffing me. "Yes, there is power here. Not a lot, but enough. Power and pain. Yes, you will do. I accept." When I opened my eyes, it was dark. I could still see, however, as part of the deal I had struck with the stranger. Around me other eyes opened, some fresh, some empty sockets long devoid of life. But still they were looking at me as the stranger had promised. All of our heads were here, all the sacrifices, all the family members and friends and enemies. I felt my mind slipping away now that I had been killed. With the last of my will, the last of my borrowed power, I imprinted a command in the skulls around me. Bite, devour, avenge. The necromancer stood outside the church grounds and listened. The screams of the vampire that had terrorized the village for so long had faded, and all that was left was the sound of chewing. Loud enough, in numbers enough, that the walls of the church themselves were starting to sag and give in. Soon there would be nothing left but a crumbled ruin, and only then would she allow her spell to end. There was only one master of the dead in these lands, and she would defend her station against all challengers. Wow, we embraced the horror all the way through, including
Tis
in
the
chat.
season.
Yeah, it is.
Classicor was just telling me on a private message a little earlier today that I don't think he's missed a single one of the Infernal Salons that you've hosted here on Arvin Elleron. And I think he was even one of our writers at one point too. So that's just great. It's great to have the chat in the whispers, and also hopefully generating in secret, in silence, their own sweet horror stories.
Yep, absolutely. Good stuff, Classicor.
Yeah, wonderful, Classicor. And I know, you're writing many hours in the future from us. So thank you so much for sticking around. It might be midnight in your part of the world right now. So thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Welcome back, writers.
Yes. Hi, writers.
We feel like you've not really been gone because we've just been talking about you this entire time. We've
very
read
true.
all your bios.
It's true.
We spilled the tea. But yes, wonderful, wonderful. How about, for the sake of time, just to make sure that we can just fly through this as fast as possible, we go in reverse order. So basically we go Primi, Valerie, Marie, Marty, Kate, Deborah. That sound okay?
Wait. Primi, Valerie, Marie, Marty, Kate, Deborah?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to write that in the chat so they know.
Wonderful.
I have to step away a second, but I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, Primi. I guess Greg can't read your story, Primi. You're going to have to do it.
Gosh darn it. It's another vampire story too. I'm not very creative. People were talking in the chat about fangs, and I was like, "Thank you very much. Maybe I will write it."
I love that the Nebula winner is saying she's not very creative. Oh
Not
my
very
gosh.
creative. I can't remember what I meant to accomplish by coming to Prague. Here, they say, is the best place in the world for people like me. People like what I've become, the vampire, those who kill to live. The journey was terrifying, I remember that. After I left America, I knew for a while, as the body is changing, we can still tolerate sunlight at dusk and dawn. So I tried to time my trains to run overnight, to block off all the gaps in my cheap traveling trunk. At least there was no issue of first class or second or third class compartments. I rode with the other luggage, terrified, listening, hungry, bumped by hat boxes and crates full of coal and suitcases with clothing and the tall wardrobes of rich women. Now that I'm here, I cannot pass as a rich woman, back home either. But I've done one thing, and maybe that's enough. I've escaped the master who made me. I do not think he realized I would flee in the little time I had. Flee him, flee his control and his wrath. I take the beggars of the city, and I still weep every time, feeling warm and nourished, returning to my cheap rented room to sob and wash my blood-soaked clothes in the bathtub. But there are other vampires here, I sense them. Paying your respects. I turn and see nothing. I smell something familiar, though, rich, and for a moment I have a sense memory rather than a real one, or so it feels. Hot soup. My mother's chicken with dumplings. No. It's blood. The change is even affecting my memories. No, I'm a foreigner, I say into the dark and foggy air. I have no people here. Yes, I know from your clothes. Now I hear from your accent. Someone emerged from behind one of the great ragged statues next to the mausoleum, chewed away with coal smoke and lichen, and for a moment I thought He had not moved, that the statue had moved. They looked so similar. His overcoat was gray and dirty. His hair was gray and dirty. You're a new vampire? You did well to come here. The trees eat meat here, of course. That's why they grow so well. And we have all the meat we need. Why Prague? I don't fear him. I wonder why not. Oh, it's a very old city, he says, soaked with magic. Home to vampires, yes, but many other things, whom I can tell, because you speak to me, that you have not met yet. He's next to me before I have seen him move, and now for a moment I'm frozen with terror. Literally frozen, unable to speak. You still weep every time you take a life, he says. No. Why bother lying? You are so newly made, you can still produce tears. Look, I can see the salt on your face. You came here to be with the dead. You told yourself you were dead now, and this was where you belonged. You thought you'd wait till sunrise and then remove yourself like an insult from this world. No. I stare up at him, the stony, inhumanly pale face flecked, yes, with lichen. No, you can read minds. That is one of the things you will learn to do, he says pleasantly, as you take more lives. You must learn to do whatever it takes, little bird. Little fledgling just from your nest, you are too new for this. You'll find as you kill, your powers, like mine, will grow stronger. You will preserve your life at the expense of others. Is that something you think you can do? I have been doing it. You're doing it out of desperation, he says. You must learn to enjoy the hunt, or you'll never survive here. What the mind wants, it may purchase with its body. He smiles, the bloodless lips revealing fangs longer and much sharper than mine, and again, strangely stony looking, like white marble with pale veins. Are you offering to teach me? I ask him hopelessly. He shrugs. Be like the trees, he says. Do not think about what you take. Do not agonize about it. The one who should agonize is the one who made you. Now, you can only be what you are. Is he offering to be my new master? I don't want to live under someone's thumb. I don't want to be someone's slave, someone's chattel, someone's lackey. I left my home. I crossed a whole ocean. But there's something about his great pale serenity that suggests this is not on his mind. Together, we move through the darkness back towards the gates, seeing carriages move even at this late hour, past the gas lights of the street, a few well-dressed pedestrians even, probably late to the opera or the theater. His voice rumbles in my ear. No, not for you, not yet. You must learn more, and to learn more is to kill. I offer advice only. Will you take it? I don't want to. I don't want to take it. I don't want to kill again and again and again. I don't revel in it. I am in agony. He was right about what he said. My intentions in coming to the cemetery, to reflect and then to die. But I don't want to die either. Show me, I say. Whatever you can. Thank you. And that's where I stop.
Oh my gosh. It's so complete. Holy God.
There was so much good in that. I was super in love again, so
Oh
that's
my
great.
God.
Oh my God. We have to, I would just praise you for the next 5 minutes, but we have to move on to Valerie because we only have 15 minutes left.
Yes.
Valerie, take us.
I think mine will be short, so it's not that bad. Okay, here we go. Bark rasped against Clea's back as she hung upside down on the tree, limbs stretched and numb except where the ropes burned her wrists and ankles. The blood running from her ears, nose, and eyes dripped into roots arching above thick, sulphurous mud. In the branches above, crows rustled their black wings, waiting for their impending meal. Whatever they did not eat, the tree would. Was it worth it? Daniel asked her. He'd pulled back the hood of his raincoat now that the weather had cleared. The grim line of his lips suggested his question was rhetorical. Clea answered it anyway, her voice gravelly. You know it was. I wasn't enough? You couldn't be. He tried to hide his bitterness behind a mask of neutrality. And so you'll sacrifice yourself for revenge. How many times had she tried to explain it to him? How often had he supported her, helped her, lit her candles, handed her the knives, and still he thought she would step back from the edge rather than jump. For love, the blandest of fruits. An eye for an eye, Clea rasped. A life for a life. Daniel's shoulders drooped and he turned away. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it, and I can't watch you do it to yourself. She had known he couldn't. If anything, he was her backup plan, in case the spell failed. His boots squished through the thick mud as he walked away, quickly disappearing into the trees as if traveling a path of moonlight. Perhaps he would seek his own revenge someday. She wouldn't be around to find out. The first crow dropped from its perch and settled on her chin, its talons piercing her skin. She wondered which eye it would take, and afterward, how long until her death fueled the curse that would find her enemy. How long until her body rotted like her morality, and her bones rooted in the dark earth like bare, bitter seeds.
Yes. So juicy. So juicy.
Valerie, I know that you know Greg fairly well. Like, you know his wife's named Cleo, right?
I mean, I honestly just picked a random name, so I'm sorry to Clea, but also, I will stay away from her in future.
Exactly. Like,
Clearly, and you have no one to blame but yourself in this
right.
situation.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much. We are moving right along. Chicka boom. I
To
think
Marie is next. Yes.
All right. Here we go. No eating of tongues today. Right now.
Promises.
It's a lie. I hear your whisper in the trees, a song on the wind, a call to be found. Don't worry. I'm coming. I will not lose you, not like this. Near an oak, I find your shoe. Red, its heel broken, its shine turned dull. But I know you're not here. Not as an oak, wise and tall, aggrandizing itself so that others may feel small. Legend, not fact. No, you would not be under this oak. The sun glitters as the wind ruffles the forest's canopy of leaves. It's too light to see you, still, but I know you're here. Beside an elm, I find your bracelet. My finger passes over each carefully selected charm. A cupcake, a flower, a cat, a book, and a cup of tea. A dollar sign and a small home. No, you are definitely not under this elm. Who would want to live eternity as an elm? A bird dances in a nearby stream, and I pause. How long have I been looking? How long have you been calling to me? How long has it been? I don't remember. My feet ache. My heart is numb. I continue moving. And there, I see it, near the birch. Of course, the birch. Tall, silver proud, gentle, ephemeral. Usually the bark would be blemished from the greedy pull of wandering deers, but not this one. No, this one is perfect. And it's in its ripples and lines that I see it. Your face, your eyes closed. Leaning against it, I hear the gentle murmur of a heartbeat, of the familiar rhythm of your hopes. Hello, I say, a smile tugging at my lips. My heart flutters, beats in rhythm with yours. I feared I'd lost you. A bird chirps, the breeze ruffles the feathers and the leaves. Sunlight spotlights our lover's embrace as I hold you. I'm glad you're still here, I mumble, cheek against bark. I do not fear the scratches that even your smoothless leaves on my cheek. They joined the ones carved by your nails before you ran into the forest, my forest, seeking safety. You're safe now. I hold you more tightly. Your bracelet is in my hands. Your dreams feed my soil. Your body forms my tree. Rolling my thumb over each charm, the breeze stops dancing. Shadows fold around us, created by your new leaves. And I murmur, smiling darkly, was it worth it?
Yes, it was worth it. Yes, it was. Absolutely.
Thank you, into the void right now. All right, I'll be back in 15 minutes. Oh my god!
Aw,
Amazing.
The tree is eating your heart meat, Carlos. That's what's happening right
It is
now.
a little bit. Well, there's also that personal note. We've written about a dragon elm together, haven't we, my darling?
We did. That was our first collaboration before we were even sweethearts and we were just becoming friends. We collaborated on a woman, an epistolary story of a woman who was dying and her best friend, and she wanted to be buried with tree seeds, and so she could become a tree when she died. But then other things happened instead.
What?
I know. Marty's next.
I am here. I am next. Let's do it. Gorvos earned every title the world gave him. He carried them around his neck like a yoke, and like a yoke, each title pulled him forward, relentless, towards the next until his end. The first he earned by accident. Some called it a mistake, but a mistake requires intent. An accident occurs through poor circumstance, bad fortune, and ill omen. Gorvos, simply another face in the army of His Majesty's red letters, leapt from the trench with the same sense of horror, dread, and nausea as the other terrified youths being ordered to face down the endless swath of enemy before them. And Gorvos, unlike the others, tripped. Backward into the drench, he landed on his ass and could not think long enough to turn before a wave of intent sharp enough to slice sense from the common cut through 90 men like a threshing blade. At least Gorvos closed his mouth before a rain of comrade fell upon him. When they found him later, from toe to crown, he was red. And thus the title of Gorvos the Drenched fell upon his body like a whirling tide, holding him down as much as it made him stand out. The second title he earned on purpose. For 91 days, visions rocketed through him, the life of each and every soldier screaming within him for revenge. Racked and ruined by the lives ingested, again, an accident, Gorvos knew the only way to silence them. Making his way into the Church of Sanguine Sanctity, he stole the wooden blood armor of the fabled Devourer, as well as the ironically named Blade of Life. Crept he into the camp of the enemy, and by morning's red light, he had slaughtered so many of the commanding officers, a barracks chef had to make the official surrender. Thus, Gorvos, first knight of the Blood of Life, emerged from the baptismal font of blood by decree of his king, though the church certainly wished to kill him for his theft. And the last and heaviest of titles, Gorvos, eater and eaten, he earned when he gave up all. His mind, his spirit, his duty, his heart. Death had become his lover, and he loved death fiercely, bringing it to everyone and everything possible. What began in noble shades had become something tattered and ruined, stained red. Madness was for the mad, and Gorvos wished it for himself, for everything done was done to escape his fate. For hadn't he become a terrible thing? And couldn't something please end his awful hunger? And when he tried to kill the world itself, the world relented, and gave the man the death he couldn't earn elsewhere. Deep in the heart of the planet, faced with a molten core he could not bleed dry, he instead saw a face emerge, and it was his face. Gorvos wept as the world that was him ate himself whole. And if you stand beneath those infamous crimson trees, 3 yoked oaks of legend, you might still smell the iron of his life, the salt of his tears, the cry of his voice, and if you're very, very lucky, you will smell, taste, hear absolutely nothing at all.
Oh,
Thanks, gang.
Gorvos! Oh, Claire, I can't hear you for some reason.
I was, I was probably too loud because I was not muted, but when I get too loud, it just like, Claire, shut up. And then it like makes me go away. But I
Poor
was
Gorvos.
shrieking. I was like squealing level of squee. So fair.
Thanks, everybody.
Love it.
All right.
Oh.
All right. After Marty, we have Kate.
Man, what y'all can do in 15 minutes, I doff my cap. Anyway, this is now for something completely different. He knocked on the door frantically. Car broken down, big old house in the woods, pouring rain, you know the drill. He wanted nothing more than a damn sandwich, and he had yelped a place a little far into the sticks, but the car didn't make it. Hair dripping with rain, he had to laugh at the cliche. The house, 3 stories of brick, a turret, of course, and of course, shutters, with one askew in the upper right window, a light on in the attic. But it was the only structure about 10 miles, and it took him 2 to get here, so what were his options, really? He sidestepped an enormous tree, dripping rain? More viscous than rain. There was a strong smell of meat in the air. Jake leaned back to look at the one light aglow and saw the light travel down a spiral staircase, of course. But the door opened, revealing Doug. At least his sweater said Doug. His face kind of said Doug, too. Tousled, grown-out jock haircut, maybe 4 weeks old. Grease on his lips, likely pizza-induced. Fried chicken? Slack jaw. Yeah, said Doug, no light coming on in his eyes at all. Hi. I know, stormy night, knock on the door and all. Goggled his eyes a little. Boo. Doug was not amused. Can I use your phone? You have like 0 signal out here. This was totally made up. Jake didn't want to cop to forgetting his charging cable and taking a 4-hour car trip with only 5% battery that gave out around hour 2. Doug stood back and opened the door, allowing Jake to pass. Jake really thought the inside of the house would match the maybe antique furniture, worn rugs. But unless you call the 1970s antique, it just looked like a rundown frat house. A football game blared from, and Jake saw about 5 other Doug-like frat bros on the sofa. The air was thick with beer, dude bro, and that increasing smell of roasted meat. The last of those smelled kind of amazing. Maybe there was a sandwich in Jake's immediate future. So who's playing? Jake didn't really speak sports ball, but he knew how to fake it enough not to get beaten up. Cowboys, of course. Phone? Doug sat on the sofa but nosed over his shoulder toward a phone sitting on a table in the corner. It was in the shape of a hamburger. The sandwich, it must be. He picked it up, dial tone, thank God. He got his 888 card out of his wallet and dialed. He was put through immediately, of course. Oh, he was put on hold immediately, of course. The thing was, the game on the television, like, did guys watch vintage sports? Was that a thing? Then a commercial came on from Jake's childhood, something about an attractive fella upstairs and coffee. Then a Kool-Aid commercial? Definitely vintage. Jake looked around the room a bit. Maybe that wasn't shaggy jock hair. Maybe it was just 70s hair. The hold music died. The lights flickered. The television went to snow. Doug got up from the sofa and walked over to Jake, his form hulking above him, grease on his lips. He leaned in toward him and Jake sidestepped. Doug leaned in again. You want a sandwich? That's all I got.
Is he gonna eat Doug's sandwich, Kate?
Is Doug gonna eat him like a
I don't know, man. I had 15 minutes.
I just don't think Jake is safe with Doug and the Doug like bros. I just don't think he's safe there, and I don't think those sandwiches are safe.
Yeah, there's a lot of not safety going on.
I think those are former Jake sandwiches, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like
I think there's something about the tree and there's something about the Dougs. I just haven't figured it out yet. I don't trust the dude bros. And if you don't speak enough sports ball, you may be in deep trouble. You keep talking to these guys.
Oh, Mike, you just get fed to the trees by the Dougs who are the trees. Of course.
Of course. Amazing. Oh my God.
Thank you, Kate.
It's so funny. Oh my God. Like 21 liners in a row is so funny. The Doug light almost killed me. Like I almost popped a spleen.
His face would have said Doug too. Always one of my favorite. Doug. Sorry to the Dougs out there in the chat. We love you.
Yeah, forgive us, Dougs.
Doesn't Douglas mean something like dark or shadowy or something? It's a beautiful Scots Gaelic word. And I had a big crush on a guy named Douglas once. Maybe I called him Doug, or maybe I just always referred to him as Douglas in my mind because I had a crush on him. And I did
you
want
call
him to
him Doogie? Like were you watching
Doogie?
TV?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It was
Doogie
my father's.
Howser.
It was my father's first name, and he hated it, so he changed his name, took his middle name to become Donald Douglas instead of Douglas Donald. So for whatever that's worth.
Donald Douglas.
Donald Douglas. Yep.
Deborah, you gonna bring us out of this incredible Infernal Salon?
Yes, Douglas means dark water. My brother's named Douglas, so we would.
It's a beautiful word, Douglas. Douglas, dark water.
Yes. All right, it's first and last, huh? Okay. So normally I stick to poetry when I do these events like this, but I tried something new and wrote some prose for you. And that's my way of saying that I ran out of time. Enjoy. With her throat cut, she found it difficult to speak. He managed. The trees don't like the water, you know, she told the gardener. Her upper body still emerged from the ground, although she'd been fed to Graveside's community hell garden many moons before. The novice jumped, spilling the rest of her watering can, the dead woman's laughter, a soft explosion like the sound of shriveled leaves falling in a heap. You must be new. The novice gardener blinked back at her, so vital and flushed with blood that she blushed. The dead woman couldn't blush anymore, of course, but she could still move. A little, anyway. The trees hadn't yet wrapped their roots around her arms, though flowering vines twined through her rib cage and across her clavicle, the ivory of her bones just peeking through. She beckoned the gardener closer. Instead of obeying, the novice's hands moved before her. They said I shouldn't speak to the dead, her hands said. I didn't know what they meant. You're muddling through on a technicality, the dead woman said. I like a woman who thinks around the rules. Confusion creased the novice gardener's face, the smooth ochre brightness of her cheek pulling down. This is how I speak, she said with sharp insistence. If you want to cop to it, I won't argue. Look, the trees don't like the water, but I do.
Blocking all the good lines and and then it was over. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you. Preemi,
Deborah.
is it okay to share what you said in the chat? Because I was thinking something like that too.
Ooh.
Preemi in the chat said, this is extremely alarming and a little kingfishery.
Oh, what a
I
great.
thought it was a beautiful description of what we had going on there. Like the voice is just chef kiss.
I love T. Kingfisher. I don't know her personally. I know a lot of people know Ursula Vernon, but I don't. But I just am a huge fan is all. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, but man, everybody, chat, please give these writers a round of applause for that. That was just amazing. I love these Infernal Salons, and I love what you did with our Infernal Salon. Thank you so much, everybody. So different, so amazing, 201. I'd love to hear for a moment, just especially because, like, you know, I saw some things in the chat where people are like, how did people do this in 15 minutes? Even you saying it to other people, how did you do that in 15 minutes? Can you tell us a little bit about just like the experience of writing ridiculously, you know, short periods of time, like how you were able to generate what you were generating? Just people turn on their mics and say things. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm the most boring answer. I've been doing NaNoWriMo for like 20 years. And so you typically, when we have write-ins where a bunch of people get together and we do co-working, we work in sprints, and usually the sprints are between 10 to 20, 25 minutes maybe. And so I've just over many years grown accustomed, and I'm not that fast. You don't have to be fast to do it, but I'm definitely able to, once the timer's on, my brain just is like Pavlovian conditioning, time to go.
Fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here, pretty much. I work a lot with timers to try to kind of manage my ADHD. So when a timer goes, I'm like, oh, time for words. But yeah, this also is like how I write. I just write a lot, and then it's the editing process where we get to something that's actually like useful. So if I write a short story, it normally starts off at like 8,000 words, and then I cut it down to like 3,500 words to actually submit it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. And I mean, I think you said in the chat, Preemi, that you wrote 936 words in 15 minutes, right? That's amazing. That is so fast. But it's one of the things I love about writing prompts and writing to timers both, that you can get a lot done in a short amount of time. And a lot of times we feel like, oh, you know, my day job. And I mean, I do this, you know, I've got an hour and 15-minute commute to my job each way. And I'm on the subway where it's not conducive to writing in a lot of ways, but you can get so much done in a short amount of time, writers. Just remember that. I don't know if other people wanted to say things. Jump in, Kate.
I just have to say, I think you'll appreciate this. I haven't written in like a month and a half because I've been like juggling my students' work. So that helped. And also the cards were just so great. I mean, the first three just lined up so beautifully and spoke to each other in a way that just like got things going. So thank you for that. Because I think if it were just a well-known prompt, I don't know what it would have happened.
You know,
We
yeah.
love that. We think the combination of image and word and plus the social setting of more than one writer doing it. So it's like you can't mess up. Everybody's in the same boat, and then plus the time limit, all of that, whether or not it's in public or just in a smaller group, it's always worked. Even after some writers who had been blocked for a couple of years. So it's really beautiful to watch that.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I have always loved is ekphrastic writing, ekphrastic poetry, and things like that. For those of you who aren't familiar, it usually means like a writer writing in response to painting or sculpture, some visual piece of art. But I think it can be used more loosely now, just basically using a different genre to inspire your own. And I feel like there's just a lot of value, looking at art, but not using the medium that you want to use, seeing inspiration out there and, just getting started with it. And between that and like being forced on a timer can really make a difference there. So yeah, writers, I don't want to keep
Marty,
us too.
Marty.
Yeah, Marty, go ahead.
I'll be very quick. Only in addition to the timer, in addition to working in a group, in addition to the wonderful cards, I also find I have a background in improv comedy and also in gaming and running games. So there are just so many practices in both of those things where you're just finding like bringing all your threads together. So all those lines just connect incredibly fast in some ways. And then I just, like a lot of us here, just see all these beautiful images and go, great.
Mhm.
And just be, follow that where it goes. But yeah, like a lot of like the yes and of improv is just baked into my soul at this point. So it just kind of spirals from there.
Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely. And it comes from both, right? From your training as an actor and your gaming background. Because I'm not trained as an actor, but I've been playing role-playing games since I was 10 years old. And I think that's where I learned a lot of the values of improv, but much more implicitly. And I had to sort of like reflect on them in a slightly different way. But they came eventually too. So we're hoping that, our version of the game has an easy enough entree into it that it will invite people who maybe like improv but haven't done a lot of role playing to take a shot at it in that way.
If I can build on that a bit too, I think like we tend to put so much pressure on our stories too, like it has to be perfect, it has to be great. And I mean, we're reading it, but I figure, hey, everyone else here is doing this, reading it, right? So just make it effortless, right? Have fun with it and just trust yourself and your story. Just, follow along and see where it leads you. I mean, I'm a professional storyteller too, so I do perform quite a bit, but I've winged stories on stage, like under giant warm spotlights in front of audiences, and I just leaned into the process and just embraced it and trusted that my voice would find its way in it, and it always usually does.
I love a qualifier.
Always, usually.
Yeah, but I mean, audiences want you to succeed. It's one of the things I tell my students,
yes.
the audience isn't like looking to ridicule you. Audiences want you to do well. And so, if you kind of remember that you always start out with the audience on your side, that can really be a confidence booster. I know, Marie, that, you charm your audiences immediately and they're always with you from the first moment, so that even if you say like, oops, I shouldn't have said that, they're with you with that too. And that's part of the joy. The mistake becomes part of the art. It's beautiful, so again, skills that we learn, I think, in this process. Deborah, I see your microphone.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that on the poetry side, taking some inspiration from Shauna McGuire years ago, I've been practicing Iron Poet for a long time, where I invite people to give me 3 words and then I generate a poem, do like minimal editing, and then give it to them. So I've been doing that, and then at least once a month I sit down with my brother and write a poem, and also sometimes hang out with Claire and some other people and write poetry too. So
on our Sitzfleisch poetry night is what we call it.
So I've kind of conditioned myself to do poetry fast.
I think
It's really
opportunities for writing is a big part of this too, that I want to mention to chat in general. The taking opportunities that are before you. You know, it may not be for everyone to be able to do this and be in front of an audience and the whole bit. But taking an opportunity to find different ways to write is enormously important, not just to get you out of your own particular siloed method, but also to be able to be exposed to other people in a situation like this who are dealing similar things, and you can pick up on some of what they get osmotically. Like for me as a writer, it's great to be able to sit back and listen, just be like, I like that and that's a great idea. Let me take that and put that right. Like, and to be absorbing the incredible talent on display. But you can only do it if you take the opportunities available to you to write and to learn from others that are writing. So that's another thing I'd want as a takeaway for folks in chat about this also.
Anyway, this has just been a joy. Thank you so much, writers. Just, sharing this way. It's like, it's a big ask. And we are just so grateful that you gave us these presents. I mean, I feel energized now, just having listened to art happen, oh yes, and then the little flames are burning, the flames of hell. Yeah.
And we're hoping that the chat, that Greg's chat, who is always so generous, will go forth and have ye the new authors to read. Remember, you have all of their links, all of their chats. They're easily Googleable. They're fabulous. And I hope that you buy all their books personally.
Yeah, and also AI sucks, so buy their books.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, but seriously, some of them are even available for free. Some of the links that we sent you to stories and things like that. So enjoy those. But yeah, let's support some authors, right?
All right. Well, we have gone over time. I am sorry, authors. I really thought we wouldn't be using up all 3 hours. We had allotted to 2.5 hours, but we did. So
we didn't want to let you go. I mean, that's
Hey,
it.
no,
We made
no
you do
regrets over here.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
This was great. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for being a part of this. Really,
thanks,
Great
Greg.
night.
Thank you for hosting us.
And
Thank you for
everybody
hosting us.
remember, support Arvon Elron. You'll get more stuff like this. Isn't this amazing? Aren't these writers great?
There's
This is where you
more.
find it.
That's great. All right. If you want to join us for the real playthrough of Negocios Infernalis, this is just an addendum. This is just something you can do with the card deck. This is not even the game. But it in our rule book, we do have a section on how to run an Infernal Salon. You've seen it, now you know how. But it is a different game than what it is. It just uses the same mechanic, and we hope that you watch the playthrough on October 10th and October 11th and October 18th.
October 11th and 18th on this channel. Absolutely.
Right. So writers, just hang out for a second on the Zoom afterwards, once Greg hangs us up. But everybody else in the chat, just want to say good night. Thank you so much, and see you soon.
And thank you, just
Good
before
night.
everyone goes, thank you especially to Carlos and Claire for setting all this up and for arranging it. Claire, the incomparable amount of organization and advertising and the whole bit. Really, really thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really
My
grateful
pleasure.
to all of you. Thank you.
My honor. Thank you.
All right, I will let you folks go. I will assign the Zoom to somebody else. Thank you, writers all. Okay, and yes is the answer to that. Hold on one second. I am, in fact, going to... here, wait a second. You're all like, what am I staring at? Just give me a second. I have to give me one moment here whilst I remove all of these things that I have to. This will be just a second as we get rid of all of these. And then I put on this. And let's see if this worked. Hey, there it is. Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Okay. So thank you so much to everybody who did this. Thank you to everyone who was a part of this mix. I am, as I've made very clear, incredibly, incredibly grateful to all of the authors. And again, especially Carlos and Claire for setting this up, but then all of the authors for being generous of their time. And yes, I will read the other things from chat. But I'm going to do that first. And then that should bring us to just about the time to be able to do this. But the big news that you didn't hear about, or that you had only heard about for the first time today, is that there will be more of the Infernal Salon, several more, in fact, starting coming up next month, which means literally in the next couple of weeks. On the 11th and the 18th will be your next Negocios Infernalis appointments. And this will be the full game, not just the Infernal Salon that you saw today. So you'll have a chance to see more of that as we continue to push forward, since the Kickstarter for their game is going live on the 10th. And I mean, I've played the game several times. I am very impressed with how the game actually works. It's also in line with a lot of the sort of the narrative driven GM-less kind of trend that you've seen from a lot of stuff in a good way. I mean, so I'm glad they spent a lot of time play testing, a lot of time working at it, and I'm glad that they're finally getting to the stage where they're going to be able to put it out into the world, excuse me, through Kickstarter and all that stuff. So thank you to them, to Carlos and Claire, and again, thank you one more time to Primi Mohammed, to Marie Bilodeau, to Valerie Valdez, to Deborah J. Brannon, to Kate Mariyama, and to Martin Cahill. Literally all great. Like, I was just listening and I'm like, this is all good stuff. And again, chat, thank you to you, because we're up to 113 subs now. I will talk in just a moment about the next stage, which will be the final stage of the subathon. But before I do that, I do want to, as promised, read the last two entries that were sent from chat. So let me get out of this one thing so I can close down some of these extra windows. Thank you as well to the mods during that. Triffid, Drew, Hillness, Dragon was there for a bit. Thank you, everybody, for helping coordinate while stuff was going on in terms of links and things like that, because that was really helpful. So thank you. Okay, so two more from chat, and then we're going to switch over and we will finish the subathon with Starfield, and I'll talk about the amount of time that we have left. So let me make sure I get down there. Okay. So this second one is from Triffid. What's up, Shatter Mage? What's going on? How are you? Starfield. Yes, Starfield I'm going to be playing in about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to be getting back into Starfield as the subathon continues, but I hope all's going well. It's good to see you, Shatter. Okay, so Triffid's story, story/poem, as you will see, is: the hanging tree was always hungry, no matter how many it claimed. Souls it snared in its branches as the ropes severed them from their bodies, but the corpses were always taken away and buried elsewhere. So unfair. This went against the grain, made the wood groan, but none of the onlookers understood. The tree had hated the executioner's axe, knowing what such tools had done to turn wild forests into mere arboreal enclaves. It had successfully replaced the blade with the rope by invading the people's dreams, but now no blood was shed, and the roots went unfed. How could it once more turn men to mulch? Or could the tree cause a greater change of culture? All those cheering, jeering crowds should become fertilizer, not buried with shrouds. Good stuff, Triffid. And Triffid noted that this started out prose, but then she kept writing internal rhymes until it went full poem. So prose to poem is good stuff. Thank you, Triffid. Really good stuff. Okay. Last but certainly not least of this stuff, and then I'm going to switch the category and we'll move away from this, is one more from Classicore. So here we go. Yeah, proems, exactly. I fell and fell and fell, landing on a rough ground surrounded by gnarled trees. I felt them grasping for me with claw-like branches, dripping with what could not be blood, and yet I fought my way through them, feeling my terror rising with every step, but I knew where I was heading. I knew where I wanted to go, finally, and I would not allow my fear to stop me. So my skin broke and my flesh tore, and the forest of my own fear devoured me whole. But I knew if I did not reach my goal here and now, I never would. So I went on. I reached the foot of a mountain. Sides steep, rocks cracked and broken, winds shearing and cutting. I knew that I did not have it in me to reach its height, but I also knew that there was no other way. So I walked, and I climbed, and slipped and tumbled down the cliff face until my bones broke and my strength failed. But I knew what my destination promised to be. No, not even that. What my destination had the potential to be. No promises. And though the mountain of my own failings shattered me, I went on. I was tired, exhausted, my mind lost in fear and pain. But I was more than my mind, and I felt my instincts, my urges, rise in a sea of lust and desire, a sea that tasted me and swallowed me and let me ride its tongue. I could have stayed here forever, lost to my base instincts, never feeling like I was missing something. I would drown here, and I would welcome it. But I had a place to be, not a promise, nothing that concrete, just hope. So I swam until I broke the surface, and then on and on and on. What are you doing? She asked, smiling that smile that had grown to mean so much to me in such a short time. Nothing, I said. Just getting lost in your eyes. Good stuff, Classicore. That went a different spot than I was expecting. That went in a different direction. Good stuff. One of the reasons I like these is I love the way in which it is clearly inspirational. Now, Classicore obviously is a former Arvanaut Idol winner. Triffid has been writing and singing, by the way, stuff for us for a long time. And all of these, of course, are excellent writers in their own right. But I love the idea that watching these writers and absorbing that and then their own work all comes together in this really wonderful production of art. And thank you again to Claire. Thank you, CSE Cooney, for this amazing, amazing organization. And thank you to both you and Carlos for this amazing game. And we cannot wait for the 11th. It's going to be awesome. And I will send an email doing more thanks, down the line. But thank you, because it's genuinely an honor to be able to host authors in this way, and to be able to have a platform to be able to get their words out to the world even more than might be the case otherwise. That's really exciting, and I feel super grateful that I'm able and in a position to be able to do that, and super grateful that they can contribute and become a part of this thing that we call our channel, and in this particular case, our subathon. Thank you to Write, Teach, Play. Thank you again, Carlos and Claire, and again, thank you to all the writers for being awesome. I'm really good work from everybody. Good work from all of this as we go forward. Now, for those of you who are like, that was awesome, but is there any more gameplay on this channel? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and when I come back at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we are going to do our final leg of the subathon. Now, right now, thanks to the generosity of chat, we have 320 minutes past the end of the salon. What that means is 300 works out to, if I'm correct, 5 hours, which is 12:30, and then 20 minutes is 12:50. So we are literally one sub away from being able to get that one tier 1 sub away from being able, or a Patreon pledge, would love to get some more pledges there, from being able to get to that 1 a.m. cap. And I'm also going to be doing a giveaway again. In fact, I'll probably do that right after the break, of a board game and a copy of my novel Gray Shade, which I will send to the lucky winners. Mrs. Dunsel won one of those yesterday. And so I'm going to be doing this again for someone else. Again, the only issue is if you are in Europe or Australia, we're going to need to talk a little bit about shipping costs, because they're kind of brutal, rough, hard to do this thing. So there's that. Oh, yeah. And actually, I do have to say, Deborah, thank you for doing that. For whatever reason, I didn't have a list. I didn't get any links and stuff like that. So thank you for putting that there, Deborah, because I didn't actually see the list. I didn't have your links that were there. So I was going to ask you about where to find your stuff. So thank you for putting that on the Instagram. Thank you. So yes, thank you for doing that. And again, thank you for both contributions. Really, really good stuff, Deborah. It was a pleasure. So, yes, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so giveaway of Gray Shade and one more board game. And then after this is just going to be Instagram's a good place. Okay, cool. Well, then definitely people should do that. I mean, I hope that everyone is bookmarking and reading all of these people, because the stuff was all amazing. It really, really was, and very different in feel from each other. So that was really great stuff. So yes, if you would be willing to do this, stick around for about 5 minutes. I'll be back at 7:30. Then we will start up the timer again. We'll see if we can get all the way to 1, at which point we would have been capped all the way through as this incredibly successful subathon, for which I am super grateful, continues. So stick around. I'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll play some more space. So I'll be there in a bit after that amazing Infernal Salon. Back in a minute. of this, all we have with this, all the time that we shared within all of this, light that shone upon me till it was gone, all of when I was found and then lost beyond, in the space between you and I had seen what was true and real and what it all would mean. It's that gap that's lost, the price, pay the cost, and the choices we've made between both of us. All we want to find, just some peace of mind, just a space to consider our own good time. I could take us there, we could be aware of our existence that floats within the air. I could take us there, we could be aware of our existence that floats within the air. All we wanna find, just some peace of mind, just a space to consider our own good time. It's that gap that's lost, the price, pay the cost, and the choices we made between both of us. In the space between you and I had seen what was true and real and what it all would mean. Light that shone upon me till it was gone, all of when I was found and then lost beyond. In the flow of this, all we have with this, all the time that we shared within all of this. All right. Welcome back, everybody. That is a track, by the way, from my band's album, my band The Road, which recently released its fourth album called Exodus. And that song is called Symmetry, and I will admit is my favorite song on the album. And it features myself on vocals. As far as the vocal part, it features myself and also Zach Clay, which is why I mentioned those two, with, of course, Michael Bruce doing the amazing work with guitar in the background. And yeah, so I was very happy with that song, and I think they came out fairly well. And anyway, I thought it would be nice to play a little bit of that while we were waiting for this as we go to here. Although actually, excuse me, actually, now that I think of it, probably the first thing we want to do is we want to do this giveaway before I forget. So let me do that. Okay, hang on a second here. Just deleting a couple of extra things I don't need. And that. Okay, great. All right, and let me do this. Let me do this giveaway quickly, and then I'm going to stop the recording and restart it. Please don't let me forget to do that. And we will go into the next part of Starfield. Oh my goodness, Shattermage with a resub. I know it's only gets loaded a single month. This is really a 6-month advance. This is 6 months? Okay, sounds good, Drew. 6 months, no kidding. Well, if it's 6 months, then that means we can go up to 119. 119, which means that we are going to have on the timer, let's see, 300 and that is going to work out to 60 minutes. So 380 minutes, which will work out to basically 5.5 hours. That's going to bring us to our cap. So amazing, 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 amazing. That's going to bring us to our cap. I will start up that thing in just a minute as we go to that cap. Thank you, Shattermage. I appreciate that so much, man. And thank you, everybody, for making this just like, I mean, an epic success. Like, I don't know any other way to put it. Like, it could not be any better in terms of what this was able to accomplish. This is exactly what I was hoping for, and I'll talk more about that at the end. But thank you, everybody. This is amazing. Really, really grateful. Thank you, Shatter. Okay, so let's do this giveaway. If you would like to get this game, Super Camelot from Catalyst Game Labs, and it is a board game, by the way. I have played it with my daughter. It is fun. Mind you, a little bit of like a kind of an 8-bit Zelda-ish, quite literally 8-bit Zelda-ish type of game with leveling. And actually, it's not always that easy to win. It's challenging. It's good. It's good stuff. So this, hello from Panama. Well, hello, Shattermage. I hope everything is okay in Panama. And this, of course. So, copy of my novel Greyshade. Copy of my novel Greyshade, and a copy of that game, Super Camelot. If you would like to win that, I am going to put the giveaway in the chat. Away admin -s. Let's see. Let's make it. There we go. Infernal. Rating of a big view. All the ships waiting to go through a canal. I'll bet. Oh my gosh. Infernal. If you would like to win a copy of Greyshade and a copy of that board game I mentioned, please type the word Infernal into chat. Please type the word Infernal into chat. This is our second giveaway that we're doing today, that are doing as part of this subathon. So if you would like to win a copy of Greyshade and a copy of Super Camelot, please type the word Infernal into chat, and you will be entered to do that. I'm going to leave this running for a little while whilst I play, but I did want to bring that up. So please do that. Please enter into the chat if you are interested. Now I'm going to go over and do this. So now we've got 320 minutes. That countdown timer is incorrect. So let's actually do that. Let's see. Scripts, we're going to say this is going to be... So 7:36. So let's see. So 5 hours and 25 minutes would be 324 minutes. There we go. 324 minutes is going to get the job done. Wow. Cannot believe, honestly, in some ways that this has gone so well. I was hoping that it would, but really kind of beyond my wildest expectations. I would say the only other, the thing that we're pushing for, besides having a good time and getting as many extra subs as we can, is that if anyone is able to jump on board and consider doing a Patreon pledge, we're also trying to build that Patreon number up as well. We've had one of those pledges, but having a few more would be nice. Right now, I am sitting, I believe, at somewhere around 140 some odd 145 subscribers, somewhere like that, somewhere in that area. So maybe 150, actually. I think now that I think of it, it's about 150. So if there were Patreons that were the couple of Patreon pledges to add to that mix, it would be even better. But honestly, it is, listen, regardless of that, I am just incredibly honored and grateful that we have done so well tonight. It's been great. I'm so happy that yesterday and today has gone as well as I hoped it would. So thank you, everybody. Okay, with all of that, let me fire up this thing, please. Let's fire up Vortex and let's get rolling. Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Whoa, whoa, the changes. Channel giveaway only mod center. Okay. Right. Get rid of that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Tell me, mods. All right. Let's check for updates. Any updates? Any updates? Any updates? Anything update? 0 updates found. All right. That's what I like to see. We are good to go. All right. Well, then in that case, let's roll. We have a ship to enter and explore. Then we got to get back and we've got to do, I think, a couple of other things on Mars. We got to find someone else on Mars. Then we got to head back and do some other stuff. Everyone's telling me to do the Mantis quest and we got to do all these things. What's up, Cinder XP? Infernal, not a mod. Indeed. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Triffid should know, Hillness has, like, as previously mentioned, like 3 copies already, and Hillness did that, and Triffid knows the book exceedingly well, as Triffid knows. So I was kind of like, well, multiple copies for all your friends. What I might actually do, if one of you win that already have Greyshade, I might offer to replace it with... it doesn't help with Icarus and Jelinek because I know that Hillness has that already. So if Hillness wins, that wouldn't help. And already has Renegade, so that wouldn't help. I'd have to take a look. My academic book you don't have. So we've got that. So there's that too. And if Cinder XP wins, none of this is a problem. Separate from all this, I have absolutely been loving this game. What a great game to be doing this on. I was really hoping that it would be like this, and so far I've been all about it. It's been great. Okay. Now, we are here. This is this ship that we're supposed to explore. Oh, she keeps showing her laser. I'm like, what the f... Yeah, this doesn't look dangerous at all. Alright, you know what? I need to make sure. 50. Yeah, no, I need... This calls for up close and personal status. I love the freaking booster pack, by the way. The boost pack is so great. Get you out of trouble in a hurry. This one is called Freight Fright. I got this from the guy who's the leader of the, or the head of the UC Exchange in Sidonia. I actually went in there to buy ammo, and he's just like, hey, can you help me with this ship thing? I'm like, okay. I need to deposit units of iron for Trevor. I need to... While I'm here, I need to see about if I can ask about Mawara in Sidonia. I need to do that. And then once that's all done, double check that none of these are around here. And then I need to, I don't know if Leah Kassler, I don't remember where Leah Kassler is. I don't know if she's in Sidonia as well, but I need to double check that before I do all these other things. Percival, I need to find Percival there. I forgot about that. There's a lot of stuff to do in Mars is what I'm saying. So... Okay, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, he was just there. I feel like, Shatter, they just... Oh my god, Sarah, you freaked me out. I was ready to, like... I feel like, they just throw quests at you. You know? Like, they literally are just like, here, have a quest. Have another quest. Okay, sounds good.
Speeches are just lovely. Perhaps we should help Dennis and clear these things out.
Why is it giving me combat music? All the doors are closed, but still. Yeah, I get it, heat leeches. You want a piece of this. I get it.
Been a long time since I've been to Mars. Bring me anything useful?
Okay, let's see. I need to give you this navigator, which I didn't actually mean to take. I mean, I didn't want to do that, but...
Maybe another time.
Okay, let's save. And then quick save and go through this. Too much dead space for me, man. Okay.
Make sure you clean that off before you stow it in your bag.
Swear to God. Sarah, every time I pick up anything, Sarah's just like, you don't need that. Stop putting away that. Shut up, Sarah. You're not the boss of me at all. Let me explain how this rolls. I'm going to call the shots here. Are those all of the heat leeches? Oh my goodness. When you absolutely positively need to exterminate a heat leech, I give you the coachman. This is the biggest DPS item I've got. Now, if I get swarmed, it's a problem because they're not going to go that fast and it takes a while to reload it. But... Freight Fright. What's up, Caro?
Final log for Jobber, logistics ship A2. Job number 146789. Beginning descent into Mars airspace towards Sidonia. And Doctor.
What's wrong?
I'm losing systems. Something's cutting power. Nav's offline. Comms are dead.
That's not good.
Computer's on the fritz. I'm going to try for an emergency landing. Shit! All two just vented. Life support is failing rapidly. Alert Galvez. Get your suits on and strap in. We're in for a rough landing.
What about...
Don't worry about me. Hurry! Go! I'll be right behind you as soon as I set the ship to land.
Well, he was not right behind him. Interesting. And I have to check the cargo.
Sidonia is an industrial town. Want to see what I'm carrying?
No, I want you to carry all of my stuff. Actually, yeah, I don't need this solstice. I have a better solstice. So you do that. Maybe I'll eat some stuff. Ooh, that's also useful. Now that I see that.
So long.
Okay. All right. Fun times. Welcome back, Classic Gore. Welcome to Heat Leech Are Us.
Give it your best shot.
She opened the other door. Oh, I thought those were... Oh. I thought all of those were heat leeches, not the cargo. Are you kidding me? I was like, that's a lot of heat leeches. It's like... You inspect the cargo for damage. As you open the container, something squirms out and drops to the floor. It's a heat leech. Frick did you go? You kidding me? How much you want to bet all of this has heat leeches? They are all heat leeches. You inspect the cargo for damage, sift through various consumer goods. Everything seems remarkably intact. Yep. Nice shooting. Better than me. Come back here.
Don't let him get away. Bring it on.
God. All right. Enough with this. No. shooting Tex. Gotta collect the explosives from the fridge. Yeah, I know. Unbelievable, man. Okay. Okay. Wonder if it's random every time.
You're going to be carrying that gooey mess, right?
Better. What I need is spray is what I need for stuff like this. It should be shotgun, but like it's too... They move too fast. Okay, so now we've exterminated them, really? Check the cargo. All right. Wait. What is this thing about? Shielded lab outfit. That could be useful, actually. I like how this was totally fine. Like, everything here was just fine. No problems. Toast and butter. Always need to have that. An auto shotgun, not a double barrel. What I need is a sawed-off, right? To get the spray effect. That's what I really need. Also, welcome back to... All right, there we go. Now we can quick travel, fast travel back to the location required. Oh God. That was very odd. It's like, I put you outside on that side. I'm like, really? Nice. Okay. What if I can keep that ship? That'd be nice. Okay, right. Carrying too much. I'm doing weightlifting next time. It's getting old. Okay, return to Dennis. Show on this. See, part of it is, if I would get rid of some of the guns, and I would just keep my favorites if the ammo wasn't so, like, precious in this game, you know? Because what ends up happening is I, like, run out of ammo. Like, I would stick with my pistol, my sniper, and a couple of rifles, you know, except that, like, I run out, they all use different ammo, and I run out of them half the time, no matter how much I seem to buy. So... I didn't do the thing. Damn it.